You're listening to the Beans and Dice podcast, a podcast about how we game.
Hey, folks, welcome to the Beans and Dice podcast, Thursday night live call-in show. I'm one of your hosts, Carlos.
I'm Rob. And I'm Wayne.
And we are the Beans and Dice podcast, a podcast about
How we game.
That's right, how we game. Thursday nights is also about how you game, because on Thursday nights we take your phone calls to talk about what you have going on. But first, we kind of, prime the pump, talk a little bit about what we've had going on, what we've been up to.
What we got going on.
Yeah, it's how we game.
Yeah.
And then once we give you the update on how we game, we open up the phone lines and let you tell us how you game and what you've been up to. So thank you all for joining in. Rob,
What's going on?
It's not a heavy gaming week for me.
No, me either. Yeah, I've been playing one game a couple times, but yeah.
One game a couple times?
Yeah.
What you been up to?
Destiny's with the kids. So my older two kids, I've mentioned a few times on the show. We've been playing through the base box, the campaign of Destiny's. It's just four games, so it's not a big epic campaign. But each of the four games is about 2-ish hours. So I mean, you're talking 8 to 10 hours maybe total if you play through the 4-game campaign. So there's a little starter one. Well, I call it a starter. It's still a full-blown 2-hour ordeal. But it's one just to kind of teach you all the rules, kind of get you comfortable, and then if you like that, you can continue on in the game, and you can go to the 4-game campaign that's in the base box. There are 2 expansions for it. I know Dan has at least one of the 2 expansions, and we just finished the 3rd game in the campaign, and we've been playing just hour here, hour there, kind of breaking it up into chunks. And so we have one more to go, probably about another 2 hours left. We may just sit down and try to knock that out. And then once we're done, I think me and both of the kids like it enough that we're going to try to borrow one of the expansions from Dan and play through that. I believe that's another 4 or 5 game campaign in each of the 2 expansions. So, but we're enjoying it. It's fairly light. It is a little bit repetitious. We're finding now that we're on our 3rd one. It is a little bit of kind of the same, pretty much the same mechanics over and over. It's a pretty cool system, and it's really neat the first time when you play it. It's different than a lot of other stuff that I've played. And but a lot of people like it. It's popular, and we've liked it a lot. And then they're iterating on that with another couple of games that are getting ready to come out in the pipeline here. So I'm really looking forward to trying those out. But I'm glad we found a game that me and the 19, almost 20-year-old, and then my 18-year-old daughter, soon to be 18-year-old daughter, are enjoying. And it's a game we've all are kind of looking forward to. We're looking for a little half hour here, hour there, where we can just fit in sessions. So it's a lot of fun.
Nice having a little narrative game.
Yeah.
It helps drive or the desire to play again.
It's very app-based, so at the beginning of each of the campaign, there's a little, probably 3-4 minute narrated part where it reads it and cool voices and music and that kind of stuff. But from there on, it's just kind of a little bit point and click on the app. You're laying out they're not tiles, they're little cards, little square cards. Kind of reminds me of Seventh Continent cards that you're building the map as you go, as you explore and go into new areas. You're laying out new cards, and then it comes with a box of little minis. I say there's probably about 20 or 25 minis in the base box, and you're just popping these different characters out. Each one of them is individual. They represent either a group or just an individual, like somebody selling their wares on the road or whatever, but you pop them out, and then the app has them popping it on and off the screen. As time passes and different things happen, the app will move different characters around to different parts of the city or the landscape that you're exploring. So it's pretty neat, but it is definitely heavy on the narrative. Like you say, it's all story. It's all trying to complete tasks before everybody else, so it's kind of a race to get through your checklist of things you need to do.
Wayne, any recent plays for you?
Yeah, kind of. So this is a messy month, man.
Kind of. You kind of have plays.
Well, what I did. I've talked about it before. My kid and my wife are both in a play, so that every Friday, Saturday night, Sunday they're in play, and then this summer camps. My kids started soccer camp at USF, which is a big university in Tampa. For those of you that are from outside our area, so he's got to be there by real early in the morning, and they're playing, so he's tired by the time he comes home. So what I've been doing is actually I've left 3 smaller games kind of just set up on our dining room table. So Machikoro, Rolling Realms, and then just this quick little fun game called Dr. Eureka. And just kind of like in between various things, we take turns, right? So like Machikoro will roll and do a turn, so we're kind of playing them over the course of a couple of days, just as we have time running between play and camp and things like that. So, and then the Rolling Realms I'm mostly just doing solo. I got a bunch of the new like promo realms came in. And so I just kind of leaving those out. And as in between work breaks or meetings, I'm just kind of doing a turn here and there. So that's been the last week or so, just like trying to figure out any way to game where we really don't have time to sit down and play full games between all the various summer activities. So we're just trying to get little things in here and there. But I will say this, I think after this weekend, I'm gonna take that down. I'm gonna set up a big game of Fortune and Glory, because
Nice.
my 9-year-old just watched Indiana Jones in the last Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark for the first time. And I was telling my, hey buddy, I got a big board game. That big box is like we could play cooperative against the Nazis, and
I've heard people talk about it a lot, but I've never played. Carlos, you ever played that one?
No. I do like Flying Frog.
Yeah.
So Last Night on Earth was the one that I had. That's the zombie version.
Oh, okay.
Well, I say version. They have a shtick, Flying Frog.
Is it kind of the same thing?
It's a thing. It's very Ameritrash, very themey.
Yeah.
And then the artwork is not art; it's photography of actual actors dressed up in roles and cosplay effectively.
Like the Fortune and Glory game comes with a CD.
Not a cheap
like,
knockoff, Robert. It's an art style.
But like so like the Fortune and Glory big box, it comes with a CD. Obviously, who has a CD player anymore? But
I do.
I didn't even think about that. I don't think I do.
I do.
Yeah, I don't think I do. I know none of my computers have CD players anymore. But Fortune and Glory's got 3 different play styles. You can play it competitively, cooperatively, and then you can do like a free for all thing. So I'm probably gonna play with him and do cooperative, where it's like the 2 of us fighting the Nazis or whatever. Because there's like different villains. There's the Nazis and there's the mob, and there's like the spider people or spider hand or whatever. So it's a fun little game. It's a dice chucker and just a fun thing. So that'll probably be the next one I set up on the table, where we play over the course of a week or so.
Cool. Well, those first 3 games you mentioned, they're all solid games. Carlos and I think, have played all 3 of them. Doc Eureka.
I've not played that one.
You have not played that.
I'm not even familiar
you
with
played
that. I did.
So
that was the one where
Dr.
you have the vials that you're trying to do the balls back and forth. You didn't play that with us
No.
at Dice Tower?
Oh,
Somebody
yeah.
so Dice Tower last year. We played it.
It's fun. It's a great game. It plays up to 6, and you have
the other
three,
brown guy.
You have 3. You have 3 vials. Each vial has two balls of the same color, so purple, orange, and green, I think they are. And you flip over a card, and the card will show a mixed match of those 6 balls in the vials, and you have to sort of, like Rob was saying, is mix and match the vials to try to match the card, and whoever matches the card first gets the card. So and
it's dexterity. You can't touch the balls, so you've got
right.
It's like one vial is like empty, and so you're dumping part of the balls in that vial, and then you're having to dump part of them back to create the right pattern between the 3 vials of the right distribution of the different balls. And so it's fun. It's a little race, and it was more fun than we thought. Me and Nick picked it up for like $2 or $5 or something, the virtual flea market at Dice Tower. And so we sat outside the Dice Tower. It was me, him, and there was a third person who played. I thought it was Carlos, but I'm getting old. Anyway, but it was fun. We played. I mean, it's a game that would get old after time, but we played for probably 30, 45 minutes, and it was a blast.
Yeah. It's the kind of game you can play as a family with young kids. And so, like, if you have really young kids, you could, maybe as long as they're not going to take the ball and put it in their mouth, you can play with them. And then you could also play it with like adults and like, hey, we're hanging out on a Friday and we're drinking. Let's try to see if we can.
That was the first thing we thought when we started playing it. We were like, you know what? You got to add alcohol to this. It's already a dexterity game, and you're flying, trying to do it really fast, and balls are flying off the table and stuff, and you're having to go grab them, throw them back in. So that's drinking can only amplify that experience. But
so it was fun. And then obviously we had the game day where we got a 5-player game of Tapestry and Briska, and did I say that right, Carlos?
Briska.
Yeah, close enough.
And Quartermaster General. So
Quartermaster General.
I'll probably let Carlos talk about those.
And I got to teach Dan the Star Wars deck builder after that. So we stayed for a little bit after everybody else left, and I taught him that one, and he liked that one quite a bit. So good stuff.
Now talk to us a little bit about what dropped on Wednesday. So we got a latest episode of the Beans and Dice podcast with Mitch and Wayne.
Oh yeah,
an episode about pet peeves.
Yeah, so it was a fun one. Mitch and I are just chatting back and forth on Facebook, and we kind of came up with I came up with the idea of, hey, what if we rated our biggest pet peeves in board games? And he was like, and I listed like 3 or 4, and he's like, oh, no, I don't think I can come up with more than that. I'm like, oh, I can.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So Rants with Wayne.
Rants with Wayne, yeah, it's my that. And so I just came up with a huge list, and then I turned it on Mitch and I said, I'm gonna get you enraged. I'm gonna get you going. He's like, you know, I don't care about all those things. I'm not gonna get, you know, you're not gonna get me. And it was like, so I would give him the pet peeve, and he had to rate it from 1 to 10, and just give his thoughts. And he was kind of all over the place. He had some that didn't bother him, some that, but I did hit him a few that he was like, oh, that really bothers me. Yeah. So it was fun. I think.
Cool.
I think it was entertaining. I think I'm gonna turn that into a poll and put it on our Discord to let all the other Beans and Dice Nation crew, what a community, give their opinions on the various where they are on those, and we can see which pet peeves are the worst amongst the Beans and Dice crew. So
The most irritating.
I tell you what, my blood pressure was rising.
Oh, yeah?
It was going up. That was enjoyable. It started off, you know, like, okay, it's gonna be a chill listen, and then as we kept going into the different things, like, no.
That gets you. Looks
so
like,
which
Kyle enjoyed.
Good.
He's in the chat there. Says he
Yeah.
really enjoyed the podcast. It looks like so. Yeah.
yeah, which one got you the most, Carlos? Which one was like your, oh my god, that's enraged?
No, for me, because it got my wife and I talking, because we're
Okay.
both listening together.
Oh, nice.
It got us talking about our pet peeves, and that just like, and I had to throw mine in there, and I wanted to throw it in early because I was listening to the podcast early before it posted, but I didn't want to spoil it, so I had to hold my comments till the next day. But for us, it was quarterbacking. Like, that was the thing we talked about. Like that, like and then we had some awesome comments in the chat in the Discord, folks. They went back and forth on the quarterbacking not being a game fault, a designer fault, but being a player fault.
Yeah.
And then some insinuations on murder.
As it tends to be. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we had a good time with that episode. I liked the conversation on the eyesight piece. I think that's the one that I enjoyed the most. I laughed the most because here's Mitch, unashamedly, unabashedly. Well, that don't bother me, so it's like a 1. Like,
Yeah.
I got go gadget eyes. I'm fine.
Yeah.
You know, and Wayne's like, I don't know what I'm doing without my glasses.
Well, and I think for me, I've just become so sort of. I've realized it more in the last 6 months to a year that I've gotten my own glasses, and like when I put them on, I go, oh, that's what that says, you know. So I think as you get older, and like you guys both wear glasses too, so you know you start to recognize things a little bit more. And you're like, man, maybe I should care about that, you know.
Yeah. A little bit.
Why is that text so small? Or
And then it really lit me up when you went into, and Mitch did not agree, the color differences of Maglev Metro.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
how does he not see it? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
what kind of light systems do they have in the swamps of Louisiana
And it
where
tends-
it isn't a problem there?
It tends to be people too, because we played with Sam, and Sam was like, "I don't really have any problem." She was pointing out for the whole game for us. She was
Oh,
like,
and
that's-
Jim and I
that's
were just going
copper."
crazy.
Yeah,
I
you and Jim were having a
oh,
really hard time. So I was kind of in the middle. I was like, well, I can kind of tell if I look close, but then she was like, from across the table, she was like, no, that one's whatever. So we actually started relying on her. It was a joke about halfway through the game. It was like, so Sam, tell us what those are, because we can't
Yeah.
tell. So yeah.
Yeah.
mhm. But
That's
like,
good.
it
I'm glad you
depends
liked
on the
it.
person, but yeah, I mean, they fixed that in Maglev with the expansion. They gave you all new pieces that were further differentiated, so it was easier to tell.
Got a couple shout outs coming in here. All the way from Chi-Town, Mr. Jeeves, howdy.
There you go.
And a really fun podcast. I know he popped in the comments as well in the Discord.
Yep.
Shout outs from Time Roller over in the Twitch. Hello,
up?
Time Roller.
What up?
Whoops. Educate me
Whoops.
on the,
What up?
Would that be
Something
what
like
up?
that? Yeah, I would think. Yeah, that's
Maybe.
my guess.
Yeah.
what's up?
Yeah. What
Okay.
up?
All right.
What up?
I'm
Whoops.
picking up the quick slang,
The
you know.
kids these days.
I know.
Kid chat. Kid talk. Yeah.
We're old.
So, any gaming in your world, Carlos?
Yeah, Carlos,
Other than
you
the
mentioned
game
you-
day, or-
Outside of our Saturday game day, which, you know, we will continue the conversation
Yeah.
on that at home, so separated from you guys because we did that together. I've been playing the adventure card game, Rune. What do they call it? Heroes of Terranoth. That's
Oh,
the
yeah.
land.
Okay, yeah.
Terranoth is the land that FFG created.
Yep.
It's their generic fantasy world that they use for their Command and Colors Battle Lore
Oh,
Second
yeah.
Edition.
Yep, that's
They
right.
use it for Rune Wars, the major epic board game. They have narrative games and RPGs set in this Terranoth setting.
Ooh.
But they also came out with Heroes of Terranoth, which is a card game. Heroes of Terranoth is a adventure card game. Is not a sequel, but a successor to Warhammer Quest, the card game. FFG at one point had licenses from Games Workshop to do Game Workshop titles, and they did Warhammer Quest, which is a RPG style dungeon crawler, a la Hero Quest, right? But it was the Warhammer version, and they turned it into a card game, and it was really cool, and I bought it. And then they lost the license agreements with Games Workshop, which is why they can't reprint Chaos in the Old World, all their Forbidden Stars, which is that 40K title. They lost access to a lot of those titles. So it's a great system by the Sadler brothers. If you're familiar with the Sadler brothers, I believe it's Brady and Adam Sadler.
Didn't they make that movie?
No, that's Adam Sandler.
Sandler. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Something like that.
The Sadler brothers
Sadler.
are awesome at co-op. Like that's what they do. And they're like a dynamic duo, and I believe they're twins.
Oh,
they're like a dynamic duo. Like one is super themey guy and the other one is super like mechanics guy. So they made the Warhammer Quest card game, and I loved it. And then when they lost that license, they created Heroes of Terranoth, the adventure card game. So I got to play some of that this week with my son. I'm kind of dabbling in all of my fantasy games, right? In this last 2 months, I've done Massive Darkness 2, Hero Quest. I've played some D&D. So I wanted to play something that night that didn't take a lot of table space. We can get in a quick game on the barrel. Actually, on the barrel, I have a barrel, a giant whiskey barrel with a glass top. So on the barrel, we're able to play Heroes of Terranoth. It's a small light card game in an adventure realm where you take one to four different characters of different types, tropes, scouts, paladins, fighters, barbarians, wizards, whatever you're taking, and you go on an adventure. It's very much a la the old, Lord of the Rings,
LCG.
Where you would have to go to different locations and you had to explore to meet the requirement of that location to go to the next location. But as you're doing that, monsters are coming out into the middle, and then the monsters engage and attack the different characters, and you can push them back into the shadows and then shoot them range or try to bring them to you if you're the fighter because you want to hit up close. And it's just light and fast. And I think 30 minutes, my son and I got through the first adventure.
Wow.
So I'm trying to just dabble in all my fantasy stuff. But then that led to some real cool news. The Sadler brothers on the 9th of June announced that there is another successor to this system because, we thought FFG was going to turn into expansions, right? I bought the playmat. I bought the first set. It looks like it's ripe for expansion. They just fell off the map. Not a single expansion, not a new character. And that's what they were doing with the Hero Quest version, the Warhammer version that they had before. They were putting out characters like the Bright Wizard, and you can really get into it. We thought that's where they were going, but it disappeared. So it sounds like because the Saddle Brothers are off doing another thing called Dragon Bond Quest. Draco Studios, the largest indie publisher company in Mexico for tabletop games and 3D printing, announced it on June 9th, so just this week, that they are working with the Sadler brothers for a 1-to-4 epic adventure game in the Dragonborn universe using the very similar systems that I described.
I was going to ask if you want to share the thing, but is there really not much to share? It's
just a lot of text.
Okay.
A lot of text.
All right.
The cool part about their system, the Sadler brothers, which we are 1 minute away from opening the phone, so let me finish it up. The cool part about their system is that you have 4 actions that you can take on your turn, and they're represented by 4 cards. There's attack, aid, rest, and explore. So it's 4 actions. And as you level up your character, you're exchanging one of those actions for an upgraded version. And as you do that, you specialize in your class. So if you want to be a shield knight, right, and you take a shield knight upgrade card, from now on, your upgrades can only be shield knight upgrades.
Okay.
And then you can upgrade them a second time.
So once you choose a path, though, you're kind of locked into it?
You're locked into that path, and you're upgrading your 4 cards. And you're tapping those cards to take those actions on your turn. So you can't retap that card until you've taken a rest action, which allows you to retap all your actions. But I could do things like aid, where I tap my aid card, and Rob, that allows you to gain some tokens that allow you to add more successes to your attack rolls and untap one of your cards. So if we're synergizing, working together, we're untapping each other's good cards, aiding each other to get successes in order to use dice rolls to succeed at exploring, attacking, and dice rolls to aid. So that's the system I've been playing. It's really enjoyable. And That's me this week.
And I just learned on Board
Nice.
Game Smorgasbord today in the news section that Tapped is no longer copyrighted.
No?
No,
Yeah.
the copyright
Expired.
ran out. Expired last year. So
tap that,
yeah,
baby.
tap it, tap everything now.
Tap it all.
Tap it all.
Yeah.
All right, Wayne, let's open up that phone line. It's
All right.
9:20, and it's time for y'all folks to tell us what you've been playing. And I'll open up the phone lines.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yes, you will.
Yeah, it's interesting that like the term tapped. I wonder wasn't there a few other terms that they had like
I don't know. I know
copyrighted like
Tapped was the one everybody
mana?
talked about.
Didn't they copyright mana and I don't know,
remember.
maybe they did or didn't, but yeah, that's interesting. And it
I think
kind
that's in
of
the
ties
Bible.
Yeah.
Anna?
Mana. It kind of ties into the whole Ravensburger versus Upper Deck lawsuit too, which is I don't know if we really talked about it last week, but that's like
Not much, yeah. The
it's looking
thing.
interesting, man. Like
Yeah.
that whole, several lawyers have chimed in on Twitter. Like Justin Jacobson from Restoration Games said, like, look, I'm not your lawyer, but I'm a lawyer, and I've read the affidavit, and man, they got a potential. Oh, we got a caller already.
I'm not your lawyer. I'm a lawyer.
lawyer. Yeah.
Well, we're looking for some legal help out of Hotlanta. Hello there,
we
Ron
go.
Frazier.
Well, you're not getting it for this guy.
You don't even play one on
Were you
TV.
guys? No, not even. Were you guys talking about the what is it, the Renegade Games lawsuit?
Haven't gone there yet, and it's Ravensburger.
Being
It's
sued
Upper
by
Deck
Upper Deck.
v. Ravensburger.
Right, Upper Deck, yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll leave you guys to that. That is an interesting case. I just caught the tail end of a conversation.
Yep.
A lot of interesting things going on in the legal board game world, but that's not why I was calling. Sounds like you guys are having a good time with whatever game you were playing earlier tonight or what have you. I didn't catch the very beginning of the show, but I've been playing a lot of Sentinels of the Multiverse, actually Sentinels of Earth Prime. And so you guys know that I have everything for Sentinels of the Multiverse Enhanced Edition. Love that game. It was like my favorite game for a long time. It's since dropped, but it's still one of my favorite games. They announced they're doing a new edition, the definitive edition. But it's like, before that, they had a Kickstarter for Sentinels of Earth Prime, which is based on an RPG property called Mutants and Masterminds. The world that superhero role-playing game is based in.
Yes.
And it's really neat that Sentinels of Earth Prime, those characters or whatever, it's like Sentinels of the Multiverse, like version 1.5. Because like they were doing it was certainly, in evolution, it's still the Sentinels of the Multiverse system. But a lot of those characters are cleaner, they have less, they have less overhead. And so thereby they're just easier to play, the heroes, the villains, and the environment. So it released on Steam, and so like I've been mixing and matching the different content, and it's been a whole lot of fun. So that's kind of been my big thing lately. Don't know if you guys have played Sentinels or any other Sentinels content.
Yeah, we did. I was going to say, this is a game that maybe we need to break out again. This is
No.
No? You don't think so? No? This is one of the games Carlos actually early on when he was bringing me into gaming, we played some of this. And it's been a long time since I played because it's probably I probably haven't played it since that first year. But if it sounds like Carlos isn't a big fan, and so that maybe is the reason.
It's not that I'm not a big fan, but I think,
Well,
Ron, you hit it on the head. Overhead. Like that's a lot of there was a lot of work in managing
Textbook definition of
tokens
fiddly.
and
Yeah.
card states,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I remember there were apps. I was printing out play mats and laminating them in order to try to make it easier.
we're better gamers now, though. we can do this. We can handle this.
Yeah, to be perfectly honest with you, like even the definitive edition, because I played the demo, it's there's still overhead. Like it's an old game. It first came out in 2011. They made some improvements, but like it's not as clean as like playing like Marvel Champions or some other more modern.
You missed the
more
conversation
modern.
about the Brady Sadler piece, where we were just talking about me playing Adam
Here-
and Brady Sadler's
Heroes of Ternoth.
Heroes of Ternoth, which was a Warhammer Quest card game before that. That is an adventure system that's fast, easy, quick, low upkeep, which was one of pet peeves
Yeah.
that I think Mitch brought up, had to do with like upkeep in games, like having to have
Yeah.
to manage so much upkeep each round at the end of the round.
Real quick. Go ahead. I'm just pull up a couple
That's
pictures.
my
of it
sort
real
of my sort of issue. I think this is also I hate when they make promises and then immediately break them, because I remember having the original Sentinels game, really liked it, and then went out and bought all these expansions. Right, like went crazy, bought every expansion possible. There's like 10 of them. And then they had that giant Kickstarter with the big box to hold it all, and with the final version, it's everything in. And then they literally fulfilled the Kickstarter, and then announced, "Oh, but we're gonna come out with a version 2." And then a few years later, "Oh no, but here's a definitive version."
The ultimate
like-
final definitive version.
Yeah, the ultimate, the final,
Yeah.
until
Part
the next
2.
ultimate final part
Yeah.
2. Yeah, it's annoying me now at this point. So
Yeah,
it's like
but-
I have this giant box
yeah,
sitting in my
so-
game room that's never gonna get played because it annoys me.
Yeah. So that's why I haven't gotten definitive edition. Like, I have all the enhanced edition, and it's like if I'm going to play it, I'm a veteran of the game, so the overhead doesn't bother me when I play it physically. But now I just play it on the app because the overhead is kept up for me, and it's like a lot. This is a common opinion about the game. I can't speak on definitive edition yet, but like the common thought was that like you don't play the physical game, you play the app because the app did the integration so well. But it's a game that I have affection for. It shows its age, but and if you're into playing on the app, I would recommend that.
And the app is the game implemented in app form. It's not, because I remember I had an app that managed a lot of the tokens and statuses for me. That's not what we're talking about.
Yeah, there was a Sidekick
No.
app for to help you with the board game.
Sidekick,
and then-
that's what it was called.
And there was a
Sidekick.
separate app
Sidekick.
where you can play
Sidekick.
the actual game.
Yeah, the Sidekick app well, at least in the Android store, it no longer exists. So there's that.
Okay.
But good game, especially to play online with, or what have you. So, and I think you guys wanted to give an update about Atlantis Rising Monstrosity.
Oh yeah, nice.
We talked. It came up on the in the calling show several weeks ago. I know Mike and I both backed it, and it was late. It's been late. Well, it came in Thursday today. Got it this morning. Only 20 months after the the expected. Only 20 months.
Better late
Only
than
20
ever.
months.
Not too horrible.
Yeah. No, not too horrible. There are some other Kickstarters I'm still waiting on over a decade later, but those are role-playing games. So if you haven't played Atlantis Rising, it's a very thematic, cooperative game where you're playing these leaders of the city of Atlantis, which is on an island, which is about to sink because they basically have strayed away from their faith by like building up all this technology. So there's a blend of like magic and technology, which is really cool. And the art's beautiful, by the way. But the guys, they had enough, and they decided they're going to sink the island. And your goal is basically to build a Stargate to get off the island and go to some other planet. Great game. They added with the expansion. I haven't gotten a chance to play yet. Monsters from mythology and legend, like Medusa and Mermaid, Cyclops, and all that kind of stuff. They have rules. They have 3 scenarios dealing with different villains, and then they have also some mythological creature allies, like you get a unicorn, or there's an allied version of Medusa, or what have you. Added some different little things to the library, which you can go to the library and get items and acquire knowledge that will help you win the game. And they're having a slightly different solo mode so that you can play true solo, because a criticism that I had is that the solo mode isn't as engaging as like playing 2 players solo. And so this new mode allows you basically to have kind of 2 players. They added some new counselors. There's a lot of good content. There's some overlap in the content, because if you didn't get the deluxe version, there was some components that you didn't get in the retail version that they added in monstrosities for those folks that didn't have it. So I have duplicates. And then there's also a little pack of alternate monster meeple sculpts. And
hey, look,
so
Carlos,
that
there's
was just
dice.
a little add-on.
There's dice in this game. Carlos will love it, but it's co-op. So touching on another topic that we've been discussing, co-oping and quarterbacking. So this is a co-op. Is there a big potential for quarterbacking in this one? Is there a potential for somebody to tell everybody what they're supposed to do?
There's less of a chance of that because the action is simultaneous. Like everybody's making the decisions at the same time on where they're going to be placing the workers, because this is a worker placement game. So you have to discuss where you're going to put your workers so you can get your resources and so on and so forth. So there's always a potential for quarterbacking, but in my experience, there's less of it because everybody's in charge of their own resources, and so like they're really making their own decisions, and like there is a real discussion going on. I personally think, especially in the larger player accounts, because it goes up to 7 players, and there's way too much for one person to keep track of to try to quarterback.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and even I haven't played at 7. I played at 6, and the game takes about an hour and a half, 2 hours, which I think is really fantastic, considering the type of game that it is. So, and we talked,
yeah,
I'm going to bring it.
Yeah, we talked about this in the past, and I'm still dying to play.
Well, he brought it with him.
Yeah, I know.
When
and we just
he joined us here at the studio.
Yep,
so in studio, he brought it with him, but we had to decide between that and Outer Rim. Mm-hmm. We made the right decision.
The Outer Rim took longer than we were expecting. Again, we forgot how long Outer Rim is with 4
players. And then you
add
add in the expansion.
Yeah, and adding in the expansion, which adds negotiation and some other things. But yeah.
Yeah, but since you like co-op games, Carlos, you have to try Atlantis Rising.
Yeah. Carlos isn't big on the co-ops, but
no, and the quarterbacking is the problem.
Right.
Like that's the derailer, if we use business words. Derailer for me when it comes to
your fancy words.
English. Look at me. I'm doing it. I'm doing English.
Doing a thing.
I'm doing English. The derailer for me with co-ops is the quarterbacking, because then I have a fit. I have a little toddler fit.
I want to do just the opposite.
And
what everybody tells you to do, even though if it's the best thing, I'm not going to do it.
I'm not. I'm going to have a fit. Nick Oben, looking at you.
Looking at you.
Let me get in here.
Yeah. Oh, got music? Oh, he's queuing up music. Hold on.
Nick Oben, looking at you. In the co-op game, when you tell me what to do, I'm going to do exactly the opposite because it just don't feel right. Like, I don't want to be told what to do in a game. So you got to find a way to Jedi mind trick me into making me think I came up with it, okay?
Yeah. But it's really not. More you know. Anyway.
I kind of feel that, though. I mean, I've done that. Like, I know I've been guilty of quarterbacking before, but also the other way. Like if I feel someone's trying to quarterback, I'm just gonna do something else because like I'm not gonna listen to you.
It's a thing. It's a thing.
Thank you, Ron.
Yeah, I think yeah. So I mean, I think the game doesn't completely eliminate it, but I can't think of a game that does.
But it looks gorgeous. Like it's set in a theme that I already enjoy.
Yeah.
Ancients is a theme I enjoy. I've already talked about that before.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sad we didn't get to play it. This is one that I would look forward to playing when we meet up again at Dice Tower.
Dice Tower, couple weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think with Ron said, you said
weeks.
it's simultaneous action. So I think anything you could do, like in a co-op game, if the play speed is fast, then you cut out the ability for a quarterback to do their turn and then jump in and do someone else's turn a little bit. So that might be interesting.
Well, almost like a Viticultural World. I felt like the co-oping of the worker placement didn't make it as necessary to synergize our actions in a sense. Like I need you to remove that cube there, and I'm gonna go remove that cube.
And how did you do with that game?
Oh no, no.
So don't take tips on strategy from Carlos on Viticulture World. But anyway,
Thank you, Ron Frazier, for calling in, man. We appreciate you. We'll see you tomorrow.
No problem, guys.
Don't forget. Is it tomorrow?
Yes,
Did I get my
tomorrow.
dates right? Tomorrow.
Yep, tomorrow. Yep.
We're meeting up again for another
tomorrow.
RPG conversation tomorrow. I just introduced my buddy Mike Wilson and his lovely family, his stepdaughter and his son, to a game of Dungeons and Dragons at Armada Games, and we had a wonderful adventure. We ran that table.
Can I wanted to pitch the call-in show tomorrow. So if you don't mind,
Pitch it.
So every month now, apparently, some of us here from the Beans and Dice podcast, and me and William from the Nerdy Weds, we're doing an RPG call-in show, and we have a topic tomorrow. We're going to be talking about location, and where we'll just break down the importance of a location and role playing. A lot of it has crossover with board gaming too. So if you're not as much into role playing, that's okay.
I can listen too?
You can even still contribute.
all right.
You can listen too.
Woo!
And even contribute.
All right.
But just like the night show, you'll get a chance to call in and contribute to the conversation, and just join us in the fun. So please come and join us tomorrow night.
Yeah, we just enjoy having company.
Yeah.
It's like a good chat amongst friends, except for you can call in too. I mean, you're a friend too, but what I'm saying is it's different than like any other podcast.
All right, Carlos,
where
stop talking.
It's just where you receive.
Yeah, okay.
See, what
With
happened
our
was-
stuff, you can give. You can join.
There we go. There we go. You got it.
Good night, Ron Frazier.
Thanks for calling, Ron. As always, good topics.
No problem.
Have a good one.
I appreciate Ron Frazier when he calls in. Good topics. Good topics.
We in the outro already? We
No.
done? Oh, okay.
Just a little buff
Just a little
music.
Okay.
He's trying to sound a little professional.
Oh, okay. Christopher Vincent in the chat there. I don't know if y'all put that up. I might have missed
Yep,
it. Marvel
I'll bring it back
Champions. Oh, okay. Doesn't suffer from the quarterbacking. I have not played Marvel Champions, but we got a call coming in. But Arkham LCG, I that doesn't really either. So that's another cooperative that doesn't. But we can talk about the ways that happens in just a minute. Carl's going to just check out that call real quick. But Dan and I have been playing. That's another game that I played this week. I didn't mention, but we've been playing continuing our campaign of Arkham. I don't want to give away any spoilers, but we kind of just both got abducted by aliens. So interesting stuff going on there.
Nice.
But we're going to replay a scenario because we didn't do so good. But
Yeah, I'm waiting for my wife to be done with her show, but Nick Oben kind of set me up with like an adventure in the Arkham Horror card game. So once
That's right.
once she's done with her show, we're gonna sit down and I'm gonna get her to give it a shot. So
yeah, once y'all give it a try, I'll talk to you and I'll help you correct all the things because there are a lot of rules in it. And
Yeah.
Dan and I mean, we've played, gosh, how many hours now? 40, 50 hours probably into it, and we're still in the rule book and looking things up occasionally. And one of the things is the each of the packs that come out, I forget what they call them, but each of the new groups of scenarios that come out, they add a few different mechanics and a few different keywords and stuff. So you kind of are constantly learning and constantly growing your knowledge of the game as you play along. But there are a lot of little rules, and I can pretty much guarantee that the first couple times you'll play, you'll miss a few key things, but it's not going to take away from your enjoyment. So it's great. And then when you learn those little things and how to play certain little tweaks a little better, it makes the game just that much better. But we got a caller ready, Carlos?
Oh, we got a caller on the line all the way from Austin, Texas. Our man,
hey.
Chris.
Hey, Chris.
Chris with the deep questions, Chris, if you remember Chris.
Oh, yeah.
Chris got those
Pick your
levels
brain
of
on all
questions.
your favorite things.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
sir. Thank you for calling in.
Oh, thank you guys. So questions for today. Curious about favorite board game on Board Game Arena to play. What's your favorite Board Game Arena implementation? Specifically Board Game Arena. If you have one, if you don't, I got another one. But
I'm going to give you a quick knee-jerk reaction from you. I'll think about it a little bit, but the one that I've been playing a lot of lately, and I really like it just because it takes care of so much for you, and I'm finding I'm enjoying this game more and more as I play it, is Tapestry. I'm playing. I played probably the last month. I've probably played 4, 5, 6, 7 maybe games of Tapestry. I'm in the middle of one right now, and we played it live in person at this game day this last weekend, and it's the first time I had played it in person probably in over a year. And I don't want to say fiddly because there's not a lot of little bits or anything, so it's not like overly fiddly, but just the scoring and the taking care of the actions. When I just choose where I want to go, it automatically pops up with, hey, did you want to do this? Did you want to do that? You know, just the way that it kind of walks you through everything. I know the game pretty well now. I probably played the game 15 times, and so I know the rules. It's not a rules problem. It's just it takes care of all the little things I don't have to think about when I'm actually playing it in person. So yeah, I really am enjoying that one.
I have an answer.
choice.
I have an answer.
Oh, Carlos got one?
Ooh, I went and pulled up my BGA because that was a hard question, brother. It's like which is your favorite kid,
Okay.
right? Now, let's be honest. We all have a favorite kid. We just try not to admit
Don't
it.
talk about it.
I went on there and I looked, and apparently my favorite kid is Memoir 44. I've got probably 30% more plays of Memoir 44 than any other game on BGA.
Really?
And it probably has to do with the ease of access of players. Access to players, not access players. Not like the bad guy players. But anyway, in the old Days of Wonder days, I found that system a little fiddly to find opponents, and I would really only play against Rob. But in this BGA world, it's just so easy to click on there, find a quick match, and then play it
Asynchronous?
That's the word.
Asynchronous.
Asynchronous. So I can just pop in. I will do 3 matches at one time easily in Memoir 44 and just, lunch break. I'll pop in and take my turn in all 3 and then pray that they get theirs done before work's done.
I was sure
and
you
I
would
can go again.
You would say setup. I mean, that game, just all the little pieces you have to set up. I mean, that's, I guess, a no-brainer, but yeah.
That's a tough one.
That's awesome. I need to check that one out, Carlos.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's a good one. If you like that.
Hit me up. Hit me up if you want a match.
If you're interested in World War II at all or any historic kind of stuff, it's a good one. It's fairly light for a war game.
Carlos stopped inviting me to matches, I guess. He doesn't want to play.
Yeah, I was going to say, are you still playing it? Because you and I were playing for a while, and I haven't even didn't know you were still playing.
Probably been 2 months since I've played a game on PGA.
Oh, okay, well that explains part of it then.
It's,
Okay,
it's not you, it's me.
Okay, yes,
It's not you, it's me. Whereas I'm the complete opposite.
Opposite. At least 100 games going at a time, right? Yeah.
I am in 56 games right now.
56
So
games. Okay.
Light amount of BGA. But I think it
down
went
to 2. But go ahead. I was all the way down to 2, and then I just jumped to a bunch more. I'm back up to like 15.
I haven't been below 50 in a year and a half.
Crazy. What's your answer, Wayne?
Tapestry is one that popped into my head too. I was thinking of just games that have a lot of overhead, or so Tapestry is good. Wingspan, I really like the implementation of Wingspan. It's pretty. It's the one I've been really digging that I want to play more in person. Or the 2 is Stone Age and Marco Polo. The Voyages of Marco Polo. Those are 2 that I enjoy. They're dice chuckers that you then use the dice as workers, kind of. And so I like the idea that it just kind of does some of that upkeep for you. It tracks
Just don't
things.
sniff the dice cup from Stone Age. That's,
Yeah,
that's a no-no.
exactly,
yeah.
Have you played either one of those in person, Wayne? Did you say you've only?
Yeah, I've played.
okay.
I own them both, but yeah,
Oh,
I
good,
just need
okay.
to get them back into regular rotation. And like so, I just and I think Lost Ruins Arnax implementation is fantastic on BGA.
Yeah.
It's really easy to
Yeah.
play. And then there's just a million 2-player games that I love. That buddy of mine, probably 10 of my 56 games are just a constant rotation of my 2-player games.
Yeah,
with my
second
buddy.
place for me in all time played was Can't Stop.
Oh yeah,
it's just
yeah.
so easy to play
quick.
on there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Get knockout games of those. But Chris has to have an answer, right? You posed the question, so we always got to
Yep.
turn it back on you.
Yeah, so I've been playing Russian Railroads again.
Oh, it's a
now.
good
I think
one.
I have like 16, 17 plays already total, but I got away from it for a while, and then I was like, I gotta get back into it. It's one of my favorite games. And man, I just love it. I love it. I like it 2 players.
Yep.
I like it 3 players. 4 players sometimes it's a little bit long. I don't mind it 4 players, but 2 players and 3 players is great. And I just love playing it. And then it's fun because I'll do turn-based sometimes. And then, if it's like a busy week or something, I can still play it throughout the week and just get a game in, a couple of days or whatever play with people all over the world. And I just like that. Russian Railroads for sure.
Yeah, I agree. I just started a game of that yesterday, but it had been a couple weeks since I had been in a game of that. But that's a great game. That's a wonderful game. That's actually, I played that at my first Dice Tower convention, which I think was Dice Tower number 3. And gosh, that's got to be 7, 8 years ago now. But that was one that I was just kind of wandering around. I was there by myself, didn't know anybody, and a couple of people from Tom Vassal's group over in Miami, some of his gaming buddies, were sitting at a table. I didn't know any of them, but they just invited me in. I sat down and played that, and that was a great game. I was over my head at that point because I was a new gamer, and there was enough going on in that game that it's moderately complicated. It's not overly complicated. Back then, it blew my mind, but now looking back on it and playing it now, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, a lot of these mechanisms make sense, and you see a lot of them in other types of games you play. But yeah, it's a really solid game. I like it a lot.
Definitely
What
use
is
it.
I think what you guys
What is it? Like
Carlos never played.
I've seen it on the shelf.
It's so good. What is it? How would you explain? Well, Chris, I'll let you explain. You sounds like you've played more than I have.
Well, I was just going to say, going back to your previous comment, I was thinking about Tapestry. It does the math for you. It does the scoring, and
Yep.
it does a lot of the busy work, fiddliness. And I think that's one thing that works out well with Russian Railroads. It does all the math for you. At the end of the round, you see, what you scored that round. It totals it up for you. It's very clean.
Is there
So,
18xx on BGA that would do all the math for you?
No, you wish.
I don't know.
There is a website
yeah.
for that, though.
It's worker placement, Carlos, just to kind of help answer the question. So Russian Railroads, it's a worker placement.
Yeah.
You're
Worker placement.
Or go ahead, Chris. Yep.
Yeah, sell
No,
me.
you go ahead.
Give me
I'll let you take
Chris. You called in the
okay,
show.
you
Show
want
is
to do it?
yours.
Okay.
Sell me on Russian Railroads.
So it is basically a worker placement game where it's very, very tight. So in a 2-player game, there's lots of spots that are blocked. And then there's certain spots that you can't even do at the beginning of the game. They're open, but you don't have access to them because you got to unlock them as the game goes on. So that's one of the coolest things. It's like this little puzzle. It's like, what do I want to unlock first? Which path to this strategy do I want to go? Because there's 3 tracks in the game, and you have to decide which track you want to focus on. And then usually you focus on 2, but you got to focus on one kind of at the beginning to kind of get like a little engine going. And so it's got this really cool decision space between these 3 tracks and where you want to go, what you want to unlock. You can unlock additional workers. There's different scoring opportunities based on different tracks, and they have these little bonus cards where you get to pick from a plethora of different options that give you in-game scoring or just bumps on tracks and all sorts. It's so fun. So it's a mix of cards, worker placement, track movement.
Okay, kind of getting the feels of Tapestry a little bit
And
here.
it's got the combo-y goodness that you like so
Yeah.
much, Carlos. There's a lot of things you do this, especially in the second half of the game, where you start setting up these little combos that I bump on this track, which is going to give me a free bump on another track, and that's going to allow me to take a scoring marker, which is going to allow me to get another worker. And yeah, there's a lot of little.
Now, what about the unlock piece? That it sounds like the idea would be like a technology unlock, right? That gives you access to. Is that for everyone or just you?
Just for you. Yeah, you have your own stuff that you get to do. And then there's these engineers that you can buy with a coin. And coins are workers.
Oh,
you
yeah.
can get coins and use those as workers.
Substitute
which
as
is really
workers,
cool. And
yeah.
you don't have to spend all your coins. You can hold those coins back for another round. And so it's got this really cool. You can use coins as workers, but then you can use the coins for engineers. Engineers give you a special ability that no one else has. And you can use that as a worker placement spot that's on by your player board. So cool.
And there's a lot of interaction. You're blocking each other on the main board, so everybody has their own little player board where they're moving along these trains. They're building the tracks. You have to build the tracks first and then move the trains on the tracks. But then on the main board, you're doing things to block each other, and then you're racing because on your little sideboards, there's little bonuses. And as you get to these bonuses, you don't exclude other people from doing them, but there's a side deck of cards that are special things. And if you're the first one to do it, you're the first one who gets to go through that deck and choose maybe some ability or something, some scoring modification for the end of the game.
Right.
And then the next person who does it gets
A
to
la
do
the
it. Same
factory of Scythe. You know,
Yeah.
first one to get there gets to pick the best.
Best pick of the litter. Yeah, exactly.
Kind of a race. Okay.
So-
I'm sold.
Yeah, this was a good
I'm
one.
in. And is BGA
Oh,
this-
yeah.
okay?
It's a-
So knowing
it's
me,
good.
Good implementation.
I'm not a BGA fan for learning tough games because it's hard to grok.
Oh,
You know, I think this would be
Is
one
this
that we
a
would want to do
tabletop
on,
first?
yeah.
or a Wednesday night live teach in
Together.
Discord.
Teach, yeah.
yeah, we could do that definitely.
Maybe a pre-show.
I learned it on BGA, but I always think it's better in person when you have someone to teach it to you. But I did learn it live. I watched a video on it, read the rules, and then just played on BGA.
Did you end up
But I
buying
didn't
it?
have the game. It was out of print. Yeah, I did. So it was out of print for the longest time. And then they came out with like this big box edition, the Ultimate Railroad, that has like all
The definitive.
expansions for it.
Yeah.
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 But it's super expensive. It's like $120 or something crazy like that.
What?
The cheapest
Yeah.
I think I've seen it is like 75, 80. I mean, it's really expensive.
I'm good. I'll learn it on
And
BGA.
it's because Russian
Yeah, I love
Railroads
that
was
stuff.
because Russian Railroads was out of print for so long, it built up all this demand, and they
Right.
released the Ultimate, and then everybody jumped on that. That sold out everywhere really fast, so that's why.
and
the,
Ultimate Railroads
yeah.
is also on BGA, so they have both Russian Railroads and Ultimate Railroads.
Oh, really?
That's
That's
really a
true. I
testament
forgot
to
about
BGA's capacity to increase board game sales.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, I still think back to Steven who called in and cussed us out because
Oh, yeah.
he didn't believe in digital games.
Way
Digital
back
gaming.
when we were
Oh,
destroying
man.
I think
games by playing games that had apps in them. They was telling
Yeah.
us.
He's wrong.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
he's
wrong.
wrong.
Yeah, Chris, I'll throw it. If you're not in the Discord yet, you should
Yeah.
definitely join. I posted it in the chat. You should join our
I'm in
Discord.
there.
Yeah, people post games all the
Okay.
time for asynchronous
What's your handle?
games.
That's a good question. It's really Sputnik. I think it's Sputnik. Let me double check, guys. I'll let you know while I'm asking you some other questions. Let me pull it up real quick.
All right, go ahead.
But what I wanted to say too is on Russian Railroad, I was able to pick up a copy of the original game on the Geek Market fairly recently, back in May. Picked it up for my birthday, and man, it's nice to have a physical copy now, finally. But man, it's just such a cool game. I think you'll like it, Carlos.
I think
Based
I'm
on
in to learn.
what you're interested in.
I'm in to learn on BGA, so we can do that. The togetherness, not asynchronous. It's what they call it.
Async, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Not that.
No.
Just do
The
the
live actual play. Yeah.
live actual play.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Dan's
I'm
got
sold.
a copy of it as well. If we need to break out a
Oh,
tabletop
have
copy.
Dan bring
yeah,
it.
Dan's got a copy of it.
Yeah,
Could we
that'd be
play
good.
that pre-show? Is
and-
that a
and-
pre-show?
Dan loves it. That's one of his
Yeah.
top games on BGA right now, I think. So yeah,
Yeah,
we
he
could
loves that
definitely.
game.
Is that a pre-show?
Yeah, we
game
can knock
could
out a
play?
4-player game in well under 2 hours. Yeah.
Okay, so there we go. Now we
Yeah.
know what we're playing next.
Yep,
There
that'd be
you
a
go.
good one.
Handle Sputnik.
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 All right, we'll look for you. I'll keep an eye out for you there.
Yep, let me know. Because
And if you want to get in a game of Memoir 44, I think I'm
Okay.
Beans and Dice Carlos on BGA. Yeah, that's one way to find me
Okay.
there.
Yep. And so
Beans
we also
and
have we have a
Dice,
Beans and
sweet.
Dice group in BGA that we can get you in. That usually when we create games to post in Discord, we limit it to the Beans and Dice BGA group. So
Yeah.
there's
Tournament
plenty.
going on right now.
Thank you, guys.
I can think of at least 10 people in our group that would jump into any Russian Railroads
Oh,
game
yeah.
that gets posted.
It fills up quick whenever they're posted. So
Thank you. And there's one more honorable mention. You guys mentioned it before. The Lost Ruins of Arnak is a very good implementation on BGA.
yeah, I agree. I play a fair amount of it on there. I don't know. Just thinking, I don't know that I kind of like that game in person. So I don't know that I love the BGA implementation much better than actually having it on the
That's
table.
true.
But yeah, either way. But it's definitely good. It's very smooth. It's very point and clicky. Only thing I wish there was an undo button sometimes, because that's one of the games that if you click on the wrong thing, it won't ask you to confirm. So I'm in a game now. I made a little mistake. It wasn't a huge mistake, but I'm in a game now, and I was like, oh crap! I was just kind of clicking on that just to kind of think through it, and I clicked on it, and now it's done. So oh well.
Yeah, at least it's not like TI4 or something where
Oh yeah, where it's gonna be huge.
8 hours later.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, that's it. But no, I do like it. It is good implementation. It's like I say, scoring and all that kind of stuff. It does all that for you, so it's nice.
Yeah, that's probably the really my biggest complaint about BGA is the games are developed by individual people, so it's really like when you look at a computer system where you get different people programming it, someone's gonna have different languages. So like games that don't have undos or confirmed turns, just that does annoy me a bit.
BGA is not a company, and it doesn't have a protocol on how to design a game, so you're not going to get that consistency across the games.
Yeah,
it's a platform where people can design and put games onto. So you're right. It makes sense. Makes sense.
I just saw a game. I can't remember what it was yesterday. I think it was maybe the day before. They just announced it was a really heavy game, and they said I remember the whole article was about, hey, you've been asking for heavy games. I can't remember what it was. Do you want to know? Anachrony. That's what it was. Anachrony.
Yeah.
Great game. I played that one time ever. Who owned that? That was
David Carlton.
David Carlton brought it to
Tampa friend.
Brought it to your turn shortly after they opened several years ago, and we played over there. And really cool. Cool game. Lots of components. Really fiddly. And it's a fairly complicated game, but it's a lot of fun. So I'm looking forward to that.
You can keep that. I'm gonna keep it like light to medium.
Oh, yeah.
On BGA. That's my one.
I'll be honest. When Anachrony was in either alpha or beta, I tried to play a copy, a version of it. I know Mr. Jeeves was in there. Kyle was in there with us. And I was so lost. I was like, "Oh god,
it's heavy." Oh, I would definitely not recommend learning that one on a digital implementation.
No,
that's
definitely not.
That's a lot going on in that game.
Well, thank you, Chris, for your call. We appreciate you joining into the conversation. We'd look forward to seeing you in the Discords, and hit me up in the Discord if you want to get a game of Memoir. I'll be glad to set up an async one. If unlike or if much like Rob, you haven't paid for BGA, I can set up the async.
There you go.
Because I have.
Mooch, mooch, mooch.
Yeah.
Good night, Chris.
Awesome. Good
Thanks for
night,
calling,
guys.
Chris. Have a good night.
Night, Chris.
That was Chris out of Austin, Texas. Great conversation about BGA. Fun stuff. A lot of good conversation in the chat about BGA as well. Aaron Clark is in there talking about his experience with BGA during the pandemic and how he knows he needs to get back into it, but he can't get into the async, he says.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's the one thing that pulls me away from BGA as well.
Really?
It's that as much as the async is cool because of its ability to do that.
That's what I love the most, yeah.
Yeah.
And I've said it before, I've shared it. I am an ADD type person, not type, diagnosed, like hardcore, like if it's not in my face, it doesn't exist. Period. Like if I don't see you for a year, it's not that I've forgotten about you and don't love you. You
forgot about you.
No, when we talk again, we'll pick up as if it never happened.
Yeah.
So like with BGA, if it's not in my face, I'll forget that I have games going.
You turn on those email notifications, you're getting emails every 30 seconds.
That's why I had to turn them off.
Yeah, that's why I did too.
I couldn't work.
Yeah.
I couldn't work.
Yep, me too.
And then when I did that, they disappeared. And then in my brain, it disappeared.
Yeah.
And it would took prodding to say, hey, it's your turn. So I'm with Aaron on that one with the async being tough.
I just like every hour or so I'll have it on my other monitor while I'm at work and need a break from staring at code and just go over. Oh, I can play.
Yeah. When
30
I take my morning
turns,
break,
30
I go
games
jump on
that
the
I can-
computer. I take my afternoon break, I go jump on the computer. Just kind of removes me out of what I've been doing at work all day, and I get to spend 15 minutes just playing board games.
I wonder if it's because when my dad left to get that milk and never came back, I had to build a wall.
Hit the boohoo button.
I had to build a wall to
Something like that.
Upper Deck versus Lorcana in the news.
Sure is.
Yeah.
I'm sure you can find tons of videos of people smarter than us three.
Lawyers
Yokes.
and all kinds of stuff spouting off about it, but yeah.
But a couple of interesting points for me. So for you folks that maybe aren't following all the news, Upper Deck, the board game company, card game company,
yeah.
is suing Ravensburger, who's going to be producing Lorcana. Actually, should be releasing soon, Lorcana.
Yeah,
Unless they put an injunction on it.
Yeah, it's
That's the part that's interesting to me.
Gen Con, I think they said, was where it was supposed to release. Yeah,
It's I got to see the documents for the lawsuit, and the key piece here was the injunction on the release of the game.
that's what's going to cause a settlement. But go ahead.
Right.
Yeah.
So is this an opportunity for them to just kind of throw this out there in hopes of getting a quick dollar settlement, so Lorcana can continue with its hype that is built up?
I would have to think. Yeah.
Because the big part isn't the lawsuit. Like, that's going to take time. That takes time and takes years sometimes to get settled out. But the immediate injunction to stop the release of the game while they figure that out, that's huge, big dollars on Ravensburger / AKA.
Especially they have all the products sitting in a warehouse somewhere, probably, right? You know.
Oh,
so
yeah,
it's
it's all printed. I'm sure. Yeah.
I kind of forwarded this on to my cousin, who's a copyright and patent lawyer, so he kind of knows a little. And he basically he said that, like, well, one, just reading the affidavit, which there's obviously tons more evidence and there's way more than just what we've been able to read in public. But he kind of agreed with Justin Jacobson and some of the other lawyers that went out there and said, like, it's very hard to prove. You can't copyright games and games mechanics necessarily, and so it's very hard to prove that and win court cases. But this sounds like they have something there because of
it's not in the attachments of the lawsuit,
right?
But my question is the employee contract.
Yep.
Right.
Because usually there's a contract. I mean, we talked to Chris Cafidi, friend of the show,
Right.
and he talked about the work he did for Stonemaier Games. There's contracts that you sign, agreements you sign,
all your IP
to be an employee for a company.
Intellectual
and
property.
if they ask you to develop a game, there is case law already that what you develop, what you create as an employee for a company is owned by the company. So if they have contracts and agreements to support that these designs, combination of mechanisms were being created on behalf of Upper Deck for their game, they might have a case.
Yeah,
I didn't think they had a case when I first heard it.
The precedents they're trying to set, yes. How much does it require? How much is there a certain amount of mechanisms, or is there a certain percentage of the game makeup that needs to be identical? Where
it'd be like the music industry with like your copyright lyrics. You can only have so many bars that are the same or something like that. But if so,
mine goes din 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 din.
Yeah, he knows it.
His goes. That is a famous line of the Vanilla Ice lawsuit.
Is that what?
His deposition tape, where he describes why his
is different.
His bars are different.
Different than Under Pressure, yeah.
Right. It's the hi-hat. That's the difference.
That's the difference, yeah. But I think that what, at least like what my cousin and what I've seen from some of the lawyers on Twitter that have commented is, like, they have a stronger case than normal, but even with a strong case, it's going to be hard to win. And so why not release it just before the general release of the game and put, like Rob is saying, try to force a settlement with, hey, we've got this fairly strong case that's stronger than normal.
Yep.
But
pay us.
It's really pay us and we can just release the game. Yeah.
I know Rob and I share, we do insurance work. I've done a lot of litigation work for the company I work for, a lot of deposition work, corporate representative stuff. I've been, all that lawsuit stuff defending the company, and we can have a strong case.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't mean we're going to court.
Settle.
It doesn't mean we're going to court.
Right.
Because when you throw it in the hands of a jury of your peers, God knows what kind of jury you're going to get.
When you start adding up attorney fees and a court of public opinion and all the stuff that's going to come out. And
the brand impact alone.
It's ugly.
The brand impact alone to the company if they win.
Yeah.
Right? What if Upper Deck does win and completely shuts out the ability of Lorcana to be created? They're going to lose. I mean, how many people are super excited about Lorcana? It's like hitting this nexus of board gamers and millennials who love Disney.
And I say it's interesting that they didn't name Disney as a defendant in the suit, because they didn't want to bring Disney's legal power into this ballpark.
Disney's the IP, right?
Right.
They're trying to target the mechanics. But what's interesting is, I think flip side is, you're a Ravensburger now, and you have a contract with Disney to produce this game with their IP, and now you might not be able to release it. So what is your contract with Disney? And
Right.
is it in your interest to settle with Upper Deck? So
Well, I
that
was
you
going to say
don't
that
have
might
to
be
fight
that
Disney
might be the
eventually?
key now. Is does Disney, even though they're not named and they're not directly defending this,
They're going to be putting that pressure onto Ravensburger.
but they
you
also
agreed.
might
We
they
want our
also
game
might
out.
throw money on it as well. They might also
Yeah.
may say, hey, it's in everybody's best interest if this thing settles, and 15 million is nothing for us. We'll put out 5 of it. You do the other 10, and we'll just get this thing settled and get this game on the shelves. So it'll be interesting to see if Disney takes any kind of real stance in this.
The game's
Yeah.
going to sell, man. It's
Oh,
going
yeah.
to be hotcakes.
Locana.
Well, people are talking
Yeah.
about it possibly being a replacement for a good old
Lies,
Magic
bro.
the Gathering.
Lies.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
I don't believe it.
There's a long list of games that are going to be replacing Magic
Mhm,
that
mhm.
are, but
That are
this one has
still
a
in the bin.
chance.
But they haven't
Yeah,
been
they're
Disney.
still, yeah.
Yeah, they haven't.
This
been
one has a
Disney.
chance with the IP. So I just
All right,
found
well,
it
folks-
interesting too, though, that they're going to do Lorcana, but then they're also going to do a Star Wars game separate. Like, why not have Marvel,
The FFG
Star
one?
Wars? Yeah, like why not put?
Well, because
all the
FFG has
Disney
the
IP.
license.
Yeah,
Ah,
there's
okay.
like-
FFG has
yeah.
gotten the license. You think is it Asmodee,
Yeah,
I think
probably.
owns
so,
FFG?
Yeah.
which is what's that big company?
Embracer
The
Group, which is struggling
Embracer
right
Group
now.
or whatever that
They
that
just announced a
conglomerate.
ton of layoffs.
You
at
think they're
Embracer
just going to
Group.
be like, oh, it's okay, let Ravensburger have it?
Yeah.
No.
No, yeah, true.
We're going to make our own LCG or collectible card game now.
CCG.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
I'm going to keep going down a bunch of news articles that I wrote down
Yeah.
until
But
people
side
call in.
story, speaking about Embracer Group, they just announced a huge layoffs in
Did you see the
their-
video
in
that
the
King of
the video-
Average did on that?
No, I didn't see that.
He went into detail on that. Two
Yep.
with a B $1 billion loss from the Embracer Group. More on the video game side,
video. It's mostly
I would
video game
imagine,
side.
yeah.
Yeah,
right? Not the board game side. But listen, folks, listen.
you
Listen,
lose
Linda.
$2 billion.
I'm a fan of racing. My man Rich Yassi up in
Oh, yeah.
Boston, he's a fan as well.
Yep.
And when I saw Stewart Haas Racing and F1 have some issues with their Russian driver and all the money it cost them there, I knew that it would impact their NASCAR team, right? They're not the same. The money isn't in the same pot, but at the end of the day, the big bosses at the top, if they lose money in one sector, it will impact other sectors. They might tighten up a bit. They might take less risk. They might move money around in order to make up for those losses. So although the 2B losses by Embracer Group isn't in the board game sector, there could be an impact to how they manage their board game world. So just not saying it's going to happen, but he's right to bring it up. It could happen.
To be or not to be?
Two with a B.
Oh, got it.
Billion.
2 with a B. Got it.
Two
Yeah.
with a B $1 billion.
Interesting. Yeah. All right.
So,
Nerdy
question in the
words.
chat
Nerdy
here.
words. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry,
Hit the
I was saying,
comments.
Christopher Gordon, Michael Nelson. Have you all played Expedition Northwest Passage? I've never even heard of that.
I have not. It's I want to say it's either a solo game or it's best solo.
If I'm right, that is Chris Nelson of the Blood Bowl world.
Oh, is it really?
Because he's got like 8 names. He's originally from like Alaska, I think.
Okay.
Cool guy. Love him.
Alaska's cool.
Yeah.
I was there.
Alaska's cool.
That'd be cool.
I lived there for
I like
heard
Alaska.
it.
4 years.
The cruise through there was nice.
I'm gonna look it up here.
Expedition Northwest
I
Passage.
think it's the one. I'm almost certain it's the one I'm thinking of.
Is it a game about Alaska?
No, it's about what's his name, Henry, who went to
The eighth
the
I
North
am.
Pole.
Henry VIII.
No, the North Pole. He discovered the North Pole. What's the guy's name? It was the expedition to discover the North Pole. The first was to the North Pole. I'm gonna look it up here.
Not Claus, right?
Expedition Northwest. There it is, Northwest Passage. I'm going to pull it up here on the BGG.
I
Robert
want to try
Peary.
Russian railroads.
Russian Rose is good.
Yeah, Russian Rose is good. So if Expedition
Sure,
Northwest Passage is a solo game, this is a tangential story, but John Company. Do you any of you guys own John Company?
I'm familiar with John Company.
I've
some
heard
videos on
like a
it.
couple of different reviews recently on that make me want to really play it. But let's see what this one is first.
Looks like a sub. No, that's a ship.
Oh,
that's
it's
a ship.
Yep. Uh-huh.
Yep.
Yeah, you're right,
That's
Rob.
pretty-
That's that expedition. Didn't they eat themselves? Like they had to eat each other or
Eat each
something?
other. Yep. We got a caller coming in.
Beans and Ice Podcast. State your name. Where you calling from?
My name's Carl. I'm calling from Florida.
Well, hello, Carl from Florida. We're talking board games. What do you got going on?
Yeah, I got me this army here, Space Marines. I done been fighting up there for a couple of years, and I was wondering if these boys played Warhammer.
Warhammer adjacent. I will not say Warhammer 40K. This is fun because I got to introduce some friends on Tuesday to Armada Game Shop, so I got to take them the tour of the Warhammer section.
Yep.
So that's where I got to explain that. No, I've never been into Warhammer 40K, but I have played Kill Team. I've done Warhammer Quest, Blood Bowl, a lot of their squad level or smaller skirmish games, but I've never done the full-on Warhammer army scale game.
I reckon you ain't ever taken your Warhammer army there with your measuring tapes and painted them up and really went to town on somebody there with a dice.
No, I did War Machine. I was more of a War Machine army. That was my army level game, not Warhammer though.
Blood Bowl.
But the experience, well, Blood Bowl's only 11 players.
You paint Blood Bowl and you.
It's
you
not
go out
an
there and
army.
kick each other around.
It's a team.
Yeah, you
I
put
do more
together a team.
team-based games because I don't have the capacity to paint 300 miniatures for an army scale game.
I reckon you get your old boy in there, you got your chieftain. He comes in a little bit hot. He rolls a little dice a little bit better than what other boys having. And a lot of times you'll win that game there with just that chieftain. You know what I mean?
The analogy of the key piece winning the game, it makes sense. I think it's the Art of War talks about using your strongest pieces to destroy your opponent's weakest pieces, because that'll ensure quick casualties on that side. And if you can do that more often than your opponent does, you win the battle. That is a strategy. That is a tactic. Carl.
All right, then. I appreciate it. Y'all boys ever played checkers?
Not often, Carl. Not often.
Not recently.
No, maybe when we're waiting at the Cracker Barrel out front in the rocking chairs. Am I wrong?
There you go.
Everybody knows that
Cracker
one.
Barrel. Yeah.
As a gamer, I'm certain every one of us has done that.
They got them that quilt they set down there.
Yep.
There you go.
Them big checkers.
We all love that.
That's good
I think I
stuff.
bought one. I bought a set
Did
of
you
that
buy
for
one
the
of
beach.
those? Nice.
It's that big old quilt with the checkers for the beach.
Nice.
I reckon you boys ever played that one board game they got there in a Cracker Barrel where it's got the pegs
Yep.
in it?
Oh yeah.
Yep, and I never succeed.
No,
I'm always
never,
a dummy.
Never genius.
I'm
no.
always a
No,
dummy.
never genius. No.
You ain't no genius then, huh?
Negative, Carl. Negative.
All right, then.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate your
you
call.
calling.
I got to do the undead thing though.
Oh yeah.
Carl.
It's always,
Somebody's having fun with us, but
Yeah.
listen,
That's fine.
we talked about board games and he kept it friendly
Kept
and
it
family
rolling.
friendly.
Yeah, that's good. That's
so
good.
we appreciate you, Carl.
Yeah, I thought it was maybe William for a minute. We called in.
That was not
Warhammer. No, it's all right. Table games. No, all right. But Northwest Passage. So yeah, I definitely, this is the game I was thinking of. So this is
1 to 4
It
players.
does say 1 to 4 players, but and it says best at 4. To be honest, for some reason I thought I had heard that this was best at 1, but maybe I think maybe just has a pretty good 1 player for solo implementation is maybe what I've heard. But yeah, just from I've never played it, but just from my memory and kind of scrolling through here, you are on that expedition trying to find. Well, let's go to the description here. Trying to find the Northwest Passage. The ice, if I remember, there's kind of seasons here. Well, it will freeze up, and you're trying to beat the ice because you can get stuck in the ice. And if I remember, there's a point where you actually can get out of your boat, and you have sleds. Yeah, I'm seeing that here in the little picture. You can move your boat, but if you start getting locked in by the ice, then you take a sled and you put your provisions on the sled and you move the sled. And then there's some kind of mechanic where you try to get to, I think it's a race across the board and then to get back. And so, again, I obviously don't know a whole lot about this, but Sir John Franklin, there you go. Go ahead and read it, Carlos.
Yeah, no, that's a lot.
Oh, okay.
As the game progresses, the seasons will pass and parts of the sea will be frozen, blocking the way for ships. Acquire victory points by gathering clues, mapping the area, and of course, discovering the Northwest Passage. However, in order to claim victory, one has to come back home to Greenland in time. It is a strategy game, exploration, nautical, action points, map addition, set collection, tile placement.
Okay, so I was wrong. This was not the expedition to the North Pole. This
It says digital implementation on BGA.
for the Northwest Passage. Oh, I didn't know this was on BGA, so that's probably why it came up. But I've heard this is an excellent game. I was looking there; the rating was like a 7, so it's not super high. But I've heard a lot about this. I was going to say there's a review there. It looks like from Dice Tower. I've heard several of the Dice
That's
Tower
an
guys.
older title. Yeah, Ryan Metzler. I haven't heard that name in a while.
Yeah, this is an older one for sure. So, but no, I've
No.
only heard good things about it. So,
To answer the question in the chat,
nope.
nope.
Short story long.
Nope. What else we got in the chat? Oh,
Got a call.
We got a call. Let's see what this is. Beans and Dice Podcast. State your name. Where are you calling from?
This is William with the Nerdy Weds.
Hey, William, how are you?
Was that you? Were you Carl?
Were you Carl?
Were you Carl?
It was not me.
Who's fessing up?
okay.
That was not Carl. That was funny though.
That was funny.
If that was a troll, it was masterfully done.
It was pretty well. It was pretty well done.
It was a kind troll. Those are the trolls I like. You want to troll us and talk games? I don't care.
Yeah.
We're talking games.
As long as we stay on topic.
Speaking of trolls and games, the 4 of us are getting together tomorrow to talk RPGs. And I don't mean we're trolls. I mean like RPGs tend to deal in fantasy.
You're not a troll.
Fantasy tends to have trolls.
You don't live under.
I'm not
bridge?
calling William a troll.
No,
I'm not.
No, well, we are 4 trolls when we're talking about RPGs.
Yeah.
Epic trolls. What you got going on, Bobby?
Not a whole lot. Just sitting there enjoying the show and laughing about Carl.
Carl.
Carl, get in the house, Carl. Get in the house. No, I don't have much going on with the board game front. We got Heat. We're looking forward to getting that on the table.
Oh, that's on my list of games to talk about in the news because Heat did get a reprint.
Oh yeah.
So everybody's seeming to be getting their copies in now, being able to access it and get it in.
More Heat coming.
So we're seeing a lot more content about Heat. I know that we've played it a couple, 3 times. At least in my house a few times, maybe y'all a couple, 3 times.
I played a couple times.
William, did y'all get to play it yet?
No, I haven't got it on the table yet. I've gone through the rules, got it all organized and looking good. Really looking forward to playing it, though.
What's your plan to get it played? Who are you playing with?
It's probably going to be a 2-player first off with Keena and I. And probably talk about it on the channel, maybe.
All right, so let me give some recommendations right off the bat. I want you to jump into the advanced rules.
The AI.
Go ahead and skip all the garage stuff and just go right to the legends. The legends are the AI system for the game. I want you to fill that whole track all the way to 6. Get all 6 cars out there. You're going to use the legends, okay? And you're gonna use those legends to run those 4 other cars. That's going to make the biggest difference in the game. You're going to have a lot more fun this way. You're going to find that the legend system is so simple. It's either A, is the legend driver past this line? If so, this many spaces. Is the legend driver not past this line? If so, this many spaces. That's simple. But it clogs up the track, makes it more fun, okay? Act accordingly.
That sounds good. It's like it's probably one of those games where it just doesn't feel good with just two.
Yeah.
We did it 3, and it just didn't feel good.
Feels a little empty. Yeah.
It's like have you ever played photosynthesis?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
That game shines at 4 players.
Yeah. Everybody blocking everybody, and
2 players even making the map smaller. Even with 2 players, it just doesn't feel good as a 2-player game. It's too open. You don't get in each other's way very much.
Agreed.
Right, because there's so many games that they give you like this extra players or computer bots that you can add in to help clog up the board, but there's so much upkeep involved in that it just becomes you playing 2 players, yours and somebody else's, right?
Yeah.
But the legend system in Heat is so simple, so good. It's fun on its own. So because like listen, Jaws of defeat stolen from the Jaws of victory is how it felt when I played solo against the AI bots, and I'm winning the whole race, and in the last lap those legend cars just kind of zoom zoom zoom. I think I came in like 4th or 5th on my own by myself.
You did all by yourself. Good stuff.
I'm playing by myself. I was about to say it a different way.
Oh yeah.
Playing by yourself.
It's after 10 o'clock. It's okay. Well, playing with yourself. Yeah.
Playing with yourself and you still didn't win. That's just sad.
That is
sad when you're playing with yourself
and can't win. Story of his life. Anyway,
so we got Heat in. What else you got?
Well, we got an expansion for Space Base. We got the command station to add another player and some other cards to the game, along with giving every player their own set of custom dice.
I didn't know
like.
there was another expansion. I knew there was Shy Pluto, but I was unaware of another expansion.
And there's one on Kickstarter right now too.
Is there
another one?
Another one coming?
Yeah.
Well,
Actually, AEG has a crazy
Command?
Kickstarter. I think it might be getting ready. They have 4 different games: Cubitos, Space Base, and 2 others where you
I
can
remember
buy
that. I remember seeing that. Yeah.
the 4 base
Okay.
games and every expansion plus the expansions that are coming out for like $199 or something like that. It was kind of crazy.
Wow.
How many players
Well,
does
another
this
great thing
expansion
about
take it
the,
to?
let me see. I can flip over the box. I got it right here in my hand. Looks like it takes it up to 7 players.
7?
2 to 7 players.
Okay, I think it was
Yeah.
it 5 or 6 in the
2 to 5, and I'm pulling out my
5.
base box
Okay,
now.
5.
2 to 5.
Yeah, so that takes it 2 more
Yeah.
players.
And each player has their own set of dice to roll, matching colored dice. And it comes with card sleeves that are for the game. So great expansion. I love when you get some really cool components.
Very nice. Yeah, like I say, I was unaware. Do you have Shy Pluto? I've never actually played the Shy Pluto.
No, actually, I don't. This is the first expansion I've ever gotten for Space Base.
Okay.
The command station. It comes with a bigger box, so all the expansions fit inside the box. You know, I'm a big box guy. I like big boxes. I cannot lie.
There you go. Well done. Well done.
You are welcome here.
Yep.
You are welcome here.
We've been talking BGA quite a bit tonight. This I actually just got into. I think it's my first game of Space Base on BGA with our Beans and Dice group on the Discord, and I think it's like is it 5 or 6 people that are playing? And this game might take forever. We're only 2 days in, but I feel like we've played like 2 turns in 2 days. So
Nah, it goes
we'll
there's
see how this goes.
there's options in the BGA where you can turn on where it'll automatically make decisions for you.
I just found that. Yep.
Yeah.
I just found that tonight. I was.
What do you mean automatic?
You can automatically because it'll ask you to confirm every time the die are rolled, even if you can't do anything. It'll ask you, do you want to pass?
Do you want to do nothing?
Yeah. Do you want to do nothing?
Yeah.
And so there's an option that you can click that says every time I can't do something, just go ahead and pass for me.
Yeah.
So I clicked that right before I came over here tonight.
Nice.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
And there's some
I
other
love
options,
I love
think,
Space
too.
Base. You saw I knew exactly where it was behind a certain set of games.
I throw Ethnos out of the way, and Ethnos goes all over the floor. So I'm reorganizing here as we're talking. But go ahead.
I love Space Base.
Yeah,
I hate the setup. and
I do too.
it's a table hog. It is a table hog.
Yeah, it is a table hog, but the thing I love about it is points pinata. You constantly getting stuff, whether it's your turn or somebody else's. Once you get that engine built, I love an engine building game where, the game kind of gains a momentum.
And I love
Space
sitting there
Base
watching
definitely
other
does
people
gain a
play.
momentum.
Every time it's somebody else's turn, I'm still in it. I'm like, Poppy needs a 7.
Yeah,
Come on, you can
it's
do it.
affecting you. Yeah, roll a 6. I need a 6. Come on, roll.
Yeah, Wayne mentioned Machikoro earlier. I mean, it's a similar kind of thing there. Machikoro, it is slow to get started up and to get built up in it. Once you get your engine going, though, it feels so good every time the dice
Yeah, but this
are
is so
rolled.
much better than
You can do
Machikoro.
everything.
Space Base kills
Some
it.
people will disagree, but I like Space Base better. But
Then why are you hemming and hawing? Just say it.
because I know Wayne. Wayne said that you're a pretty big fan of Machikoro, right?
I think I like Machikoro. I think I like them both for different reasons. I think one, I can set up Machikoro in about 2 minutes.
Get off the fence. Pick a side.
No. If I had to pick a side, I'd pick Machikoro, to be honest with you, because it's faster.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
That's why I said it. That's why I said it.
It's
Yep.
easier to set up, easier to play.
Machikoro only gets, yeah,
Go
it
ahead,
only
Wayne.
gets that edge just for the setup. But if the games are already set up on the table, I'm going to sit down and play Space Base before I play Machikoro.
Yeah.
I love Machikoro, but I'm going to play Space Base first. If somebody else has already set it up.
You are all right, though.
Another game
There
we
are
got on
some
the table.
cards in Space Base where I just cannot understand what it's trying to tell me. Like, I can't grok.
yeah.
Some of them are a little, yeah.
It does an arrow to the what? To
Yeah.
the who?
Get this cube, and if you have 3 cubes, you can do this and
Or
that.
you
and-
can remove one and do this, or you can take 3 off and do that. And yeah, it is a little fiddly.
Whereas Machikoro is simpler. There's a lot less sort of rules. You just got to remember 3 different colors. Your dice activate. These activate on this roll, on my roll. This activates on your roll. This activates on all rolls. So it's a little different, but
Yeah,
they're both
yeah.
good games.
Another game I got on the table recently is Colony. I've played it single player. Had a lot of fun with it. Seems like a really cool game. I can't wait to get it on the table and play with more than
Who's
myself.
the publisher
myself.
/ designer on that one?
Give me just a moment.
Is that the Ted Alspach? I just pulled it up here.
I got to go into the game room.
Bezier Games.
Rebuild society, construct buildings, and collect resources
Yes.
to build your colony?
That is it. Yep. It is a engine building game of sorts. Kind of a deck builder / engine building. I think it's really engine building more than deck building.
Oh, looking at that picture of the open box with the sorting system and all the
Yeah, it's
labels,
like
that
Dominion.
just warms my heart.
Yeah,
Very Dominion-esque.
It is very Dominion-esque. You're using dice as resources. You have two different types of dice. You have the solid opaque dice. Those are stable resources. And then the semi-transparent kind of frosted dice. Those are unstable resources that you can only use on your turn. At the end of your turn, those go away. The other stable resources go into your warehouse as long as you have room for them. But you spend those dice, as you can see on the cards there, to buy different buildings and structures and gain points and more engine for your city to burn through resources.
So engine building, dice. You got Carlos so far, I think. Yeah.
Yep. Theme is looking, I wouldn't say post-apocalyptic, but futuristic, like
It is
colonization?
post-apocalyptic. It is set in called the nano-apocalypse.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what that means.
Nanobots destroyed
but-
us all. I knew it was coming.
Yeah.
It starts with Chat GPT and then it turns into nanobots. I've seen this movie.
Freaking Skynet.
Come with me
yeah.
if you want to live.
You can buy cards to get you additional dice per turn. You can upgrade them to give you a stable resource instead of a unstable one. It's a pretty cool game.
Very cool. Good report.
Well, other than I'm looking forward to tomorrow night, I ain't got anything else.
All right, we're going to talk tomorrow night. William's going to join us as the representation for the Nerdy Weds. He's going to join us in our RPG conversation. We're going to talk about places we game. So it's going to be deeper than just RPG, Rob. And this is why we're telling the folks here at home.
Try to reel me in.
It's more than just about the RPG. It's about the places where we game. So just it'll be an interesting conversation. At least listen to the podcast for you folks at home. We'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow, William.
Yeah, you guys have a good night. Maybe we get Keena to jump on here and go on, jump on the phone and throw some rocks at us tomorrow.
Absolutely.
There you go.
We appreciate you.
Have a good
All right.
night. Thanks for calling.
Take it easy.
That's our buddy William from the Nerdy Weds. Check him out on his YouTube channel, Nerdy Weds. Nerdy Weds.
Nerdy Wits.
The Nerdy Weds. Any comments that came in through all that?
Yeah, a couple here and there. I think the one that came up, Aaron Clark talked about the other big news, sort of that Renegade Games taking over HeroScape. As
Rob,
well
do
as-
not call me. Rob, show me here. I'm not a liar.
We're going to try this again.
I got my handwritten notes. What's next on the list?
HeroScape was it next?
HeroScape. It's the handwritten notes
That's
next on the list.
Looks like Hero Grave from here, but it's close enough. Yeah.
English is not my first language. HeroScape, Renegade
We're gonna try
taking
We're
over.
going to try this again, right? I mean, because we've tried this a few times, right?
We did?
Yeah. They announced this, 2-3 years ago that they were
No,
gonna do
no,
it.
no. This is different.
Is it? Okay.
This is
Tell me
different,
how
Robert.
it's
This is
different.
different.
Tell me how it's different.
Oh, so different. when Hasbro Pulse Lab,
Pulse
I don't
Lab,
even-
yeah.
Pulse Lab,
Hasbro Pulse, yeah.
they have their own crowdsourcing at Hasbro
Right.
for toys.
Right.
Toys. Like
Toys.
they will redo G.I. Joes and Transformers based on a similar crowdfunding system like Kickstarter. And they used it to great success for HeroQuest
Yes.
to the point where they're coming out with new stuff all the time.
Sure.
So then they tried it out with HeroScape.
They
and
did.
They put, I think, like a $2 million
Mhm.
goal.
Must have been.
Must have been multi-million-dollar goal.
Must have been more because I thought they got close to 2.
They got very close.
Yeah.
They
No,
got
it
close.
was, they wanted 8,000 backers.
That's
is that what it was? Okay.
Yeah.
I think it was over 2 million or right at 2 million backers, but yeah.
But not 8,000 backers, but $2 million.
Or $2 million, I should
So
say.
it wasn't enough money
Right.
for Hasbro to put into it. And they hinted that, okay, so we didn't make the goal we wanted. We're going to go ahead and put this back in the proverbial vault. Vault.
And all the hubbub that brought along. I mean, that was another whole thing. We talked about it back then, but there was a lot of people upset about the whole thing. But yeah.
Pissed off.
If you were a Heroescape fan to begin with, this wasn't the Heroescape of yore. Is that a word?
Yeah.
Of old day? Is that what that means?
Yeah, it was weird. You had to buy the whole thing. You couldn't just buy certain packs, right?
And nothing came painted. Right. We were used to all the Heroescape came painted.
Yep.
And I get it. It was just that factory paint that they do overseas, real basic, glossy, but it wasn't painted. Okay. So I'm going to spend this, and it was big dollars. It was big dollars to buy it. We're going to spend this much money, which is generally way more than what we spent when we originally bought the game sets for an unpainted version. So it didn't meet its goal. They were going to put it away, and they said, we are going to put this away for now in the vault. Well, they lied. What they did is they farmed it out, apparently, or Renegade reached out to them. I don't know. Renegade has a thing with, like, their shtick is, restoration games. Renegade reached out to them and got access to take over control of it because they're doing more than just printing the game or distributing the game.
Right.
Right. Well,
they're going to manage a full organized play, and they're talking about not just organized play, but digital competitive play.
Digital implementation.
Right.
Well, I think that it started with Renegade taking over a lot of the old Avalon Hill IPs from Hasbro. So they're publishing Axis and Allies. They're publishing Squad Leader and Advanced Squad Leader and Diplomacy and a couple others that were already in the pipeline through Renegade to take over all the old Avalon Hill games, give them the modern board game, coat of paint, and then put those out. So it kind of makes sense that they then just take Heroescape on as well. But who reached out to who? Was it Renegade saying we want it, or was it Hasbro saying take this from us and run with it too? But I mean, if you go to Renegade Games, I've almost bought a couple copies of Axis and Allies because they're coming out with the versions again. I'm like, oh, those are kind of cool, But Advanced Squad Leader and all those other games that they're gonna from the 70s and 80s that they're gonna put spin on and put back out. It should be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Which I trust Renegade with how they produce.
Yeah.
They produce some great quality games.
They're doing some good stuff right now.
Because I know that Hasbro, a.k.a. Wizards of the Coast, Hasbro Gaming, they re-implemented beloved games to me, like Betrayal, and I was just not happy with the production quality. I did not even buy the new versions of Betrayal because of the Hasbro, a.k.a. Wizards of the Coast, a.k.a. Avalon Hill version, the new one. It just the component quality, the production of it. They didn't even fix the rules, Rob.
I was just say, it seems like they are intentionally refusing to make things better. They want to just live with what they've got.
Right. So my hope is that Renegade can. I don't even think there's much to change in Heroescape. Like the game itself was solid on its own. Wayne, stop me if I'm missing anything. But my copies, I have the D&D version, I have the Marvel version. I never did get a set of the base game. But those are the versions that I have. I enjoyed the rule set as it was.
Yeah. Renegade's got some good stuff going on. I can't probably say anything about anything, but I'm in the actually you might be in there too, Wayne, in their playtest Discord, and they are announcing stuff.
Oh, Robo Rally, that was what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, almost weekly. Even since Robo Rally, we joined. That was the reason we joined. I actually still have not got a single game of Robo Rally in, but it seems like every other week they are looking for playtesters for a new game, and there are some interesting things coming out that like I said, when we signed up for that, we had to do the whole non-disclosure thing. We can't talk about any of that.
But stop.
Yeah, there's
don't get me sued, bro.
I'm just saying there's good stuff.
Don't be bringing beans and dice into this.
I'm just saying there's good stuff on the horizon for Renegade Games. Yeah.
Snitches end up in ditches with stitches. Okay, so
don't and I mean, Heroescape was an Avalon Hill game originally, so it just sort of makes. I just think Renegade is basically taking over the entire portfolio of Avalon Hill games, which is great.
It's that drop of the information about the organized play piece that really interests me. Like that's the part. Hasbro Pulse did not interest me. I did not just want to buy another minis game to play, but an organized play system, or a game system that has organized play support, that interests me. Going somewhere to play with other people, that interests me. Beans and Dice Podcast. State your name. Where are you calling from?
This is Kyle from Chicago.
Hey, Kyle. How are you?
My man.
Long time no hear.
Yeah, this is a good night for me to call in. I've got stuff to bring up, so I was like, okay. And you guys brought up some interesting topics throughout the show, and I thought I would chime in on one from earlier of the show.
Good. We're glad we called, but take it over.
Show is yours.
Yeah, I got excited because I went through a dry spell of game nights, and then I had 3 different game nights last week.
Woohoo!
Throughout the week, which was pretty great. But one of them was we played Dead Men Tell No Tales. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that game. It's a co-op.
I know of it, but I have never played it.
And it's fun. It's a pirate game. You're basically pirates that are boarding a sinking ship that you basically just blew the hell out of to steal treasure and jump off. And you're running around putting out fires.
So lots of fires in this one, from what I remember. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Renegade. Good timing.
Yeah, exactly. It's a really good co-op game, but I did notice one thing on Saturday when we were playing was I felt like there was quite a bit of quarterbacking going on. And it made it, I was like kind of sitting back and I was observing it, and I'm like, but at the same time, it was like everybody was getting really into like what we should do next and everything. But then there was times where one of the players' turns would be up and everybody's being like, you should do this and this and this, because this is what we need. And it was like, ooh, like and then he did that. And then it was like, okay, well, he never had any sort of like autonomy over his decisions. It was basically everybody kind of bombarded him. Well, this is the best decision for what we need to have happen. And I kind of was like, oh boy, how do I even approach this? I just kind of let things slide because I could see it happening, but people were still having a good time, I think. I don't know.
That's hard to measure, isn't it?
If anybody got frustrated. But yeah, the whole quarterbacking thing is a big like for co-op.
Let me ask: were there
well.
new gamers mixed in with experienced gamers in that group, or were they all on about the same level?
Okay, I would say they're not heavily like. I wouldn't say any of them. One of them is semi-experienced, but now with like heavier games. He only recently discovered Carcassonne, but he's played a lot of like lighter games. Played a ton of Catan, Ticket to Ride, stuff like that. I'm starting to introduce heavier games into the group, but I'm trying to do it very slowly because they've been very like, I introduced them to Clank in Space and they're like, we don't know what the hell's going on here. I'm like, come on, this is a great game.
Too much. Oh, it's a great game. I agree.
Great game. I don't think it's too much. I think once you get in the groove of it, you're really just running around and picking up stuff.
Oh yeah. And I wasn't inferring that the game was too much. I guess my curiosity now, to some extent, is if you have an experienced gamer and then you have people who aren't as experienced, they're probably not going to be as assertive in what they're doing because they don't game, they don't know the mechanisms, they don't know some of the strategies as well as somebody who's not necessarily even just this game, but then they may feel pressure that, oh, this guy's played a lot of games, I probably should listen to what he's saying and do what this person's telling me to do. But
also it's that aspect of the player preference personally, because we know gamers that have gamed, but their choice is more to be there for the social activity, and they're okay with the group coming up with a decision on what their character should do.
Groupthink, yeah,
right. Like they're just happy to be there and be a part of it. So it is hard to kind of sit back and I insert myself to prevent this, or is this what they want?
And that's a great point, because I do think that was a big part of this get-together, because everybody who was there have kids. And I've created this sort of like, we try to do it once a month, guys' game nights. Basically my neighbors that I know are, fathers or whatever. And we do a guys' game night. We try to do it once a month. People's schedules are crazy. If we can do it, we do it. And I think that's the relief, is just us getting together without our kids and just having some drinks and just having a good time playing something. Nobody cares what we're playing, as long as we're having a good time and kind of getting away from, kids.
Life.
Life, yeah. Work, kids, all that kind of stuff. So I think that's a good point, Carlos. I think that's why like nobody seemed to get frustrated with it, that they didn't appear to. I think a lot of it was relief and just sort of excitement about just an activity that we were doing.
Being together and pushing some pieces on the board is enough for some people. They don't need to be the hero of the game to figure out the way to win.
Exactly. Exactly. So it was good. It was just something I noticed with that game that was like, oof, because you know, like Ron was saying with Atlantis Rising, you're doing like these simultaneous turns. I feel like I like the co-op games where like Spirit Island is my favorite game of all time, and you're so focused on what you're doing, you don't have time to be bossing people around. But it does offer the opportunity for people to be like, hey, do you need help over here? Oh, help me with this, blah, blah, blah. And you can kind of offer suggestions, but you're not going to be looking over it like somebody else is bored and being like, nah, you shouldn't do that. You should be doing this, this, and that. And because we really need this. It's like, you know what I'm trying to say?
No,
Yeah.
it is a hard line. It's a hard balance to strike because some of these co-op games are so hard that if everyone's not on point, we lose. And is that fun?
Yeah.
I don't know.
True. But if they're too easy, then it's sort of like, well, did we feel like we were stimulated? You know, like we need that sort of engagement with a challenge, a puzzle.
Yeah. And again, I think I did it when I was looking at Nick's eyes. It's find a way to deliver that message in a way that it makes me feel like I came up with the idea.
Yeah.
Right? Like kind of breadcrumb, put the breadcrumbs down on the trail and let me gobble them up and follow you. Like, ooh, if I did that, right? But you kind of planted those seeds in my brain.
Yeah, and I'm gonna use Nick as an example here, and Nick, don't hate me. I know you
can hate him, Nick.
We've gamed enough, that we know. But one of Nick's favorite terms, whether he intentionally does it or not, is that clearly is the best thing to do. That's what you're supposed to do. Do the thing. And I'm like, ooh, when he tells me that, even if I know it's the right thing.
When it goes like that, I am not doing the thing. I'm not doing the thing.
Yeah, it hurts when he says
that. You got to
okay.
be more subtle than that. You'll be like, if only I had this resource, and I really
not
can't
my dad.
Develop,
and if I had one, it wouldn't be you.
Yeah. Yeah, when it makes me feel like
you're
an
not
idiot,
my boss.
that this is clearly the thing, but you're not saying the thing that you absolutely have to do. So let me tell you, this is clearly what you have to do.
Because you're an effing idiot.
Yeah, exactly. That's when I have to put it in my gamer brain. I have to think, oh crap! All right, he's 99% right, but when he puts it that way, it makes it tough for me to want to do it. So yeah. Anyway, sorry, Nick. I still love you. Yeah, but
yeah, we love Nick. He's great.
What else game day? What else happened on game day? Because I mean, that sounds legit awesome. Getting a group of neighbors together. That's the one thing that I'm missing is I have gaming friends, but I have like neighbors that I can game with. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's nice because then we can have drinks and people are like, okay, now I'm walking home, so you're not worried about how many drinks people have or anything like.
Yeah, like my neighbors invite me over to go watch the ball game at their house, which is great. Don't get me wrong, and I'll stumble home, but. Man, I wish we could have played a game.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I love it. I'm actively trying to create a gaming life for me here that I used to have in Los Angeles. And so one of the first game night of last week was with an old friend of mine that I haven't hung out with in a long time and two of his friends. And they don't know anything about games. And so what I did is to start them off, like they've played like Monopoly and all that kind of stuff. To start them off is what I did was I just brought some like social deduction games. I brought One Night Ultimate Werewolf and Deception Murder in Hong Kong, and their minds were blown. They were looking up they're ready to buy it because it was just something light, simple, just sort of interactive. We could have some drinks and just sort of start them off. I just thought that was probably the best way instead of trying to jump them into even some of the gateway games. I just felt like. You got to read the crowd that you're appealing to. And I know that, they want to have some fun and some digging and stuff. And I felt like social deduction was kind of perfect for that opening. And then I started telling them about other games that I have and they're like, ooh, you're going to bring that next? And I'm like, oh, perfect.
Yeah.
I got them hooked.
Got him.
Here we go.
Yeah. When you start unfolding that 6-fold board and putting out tokens everywhere.
Got him. Only to have to take away a third of them after you put the tokens out, right?
Oh yeah. Mosaic.
Mosaic. What am I doing wrong with Ultimate One Night Werewolf? Like Kyle, you said it, and I think it. Like I bring it with me. Like, okay, this might be the social deduction game that I can bring with me. but when I read the rules, I just can't seem to understand how that game is played. Like regular werewolf, I can figure it out. Tokyo Murder in Hong Kong, I can figure that out. But something about the One Night Ultimate Werewolf, it just doesn't grok in my
The
head.
narration runs the whole game for you. What do you not understand? You just turn the narrator on and go.
Is it that easy?
Oh, it is that easy. Yes.
Yeah.
Because the rules feel so
They
light that
tell
I
you-
don't understand.
The narrator tells you every step of what to do. Yeah. You just hit play.
And
Just
then
hit play.
Yep.
and then what I did for introducing it to people as the experienced guy in it, I know like how like that first time you play it, you could thought, I don't know what to say here. So I kind of would initiate things, and I kind of would explain certain strategies and stuff like that. And to be honest, like One Night Ultimate Werewolf kind of like faded off for me. It just doesn't do anything for me anymore. But I actually had a really good time with that in that scenario because of the fact that I just watching them light up and like engage in something that they didn't know existed. That's what I got out of it. That was the high I got out of it was their experience of trying something, you know? So yeah, you know what? It's kind of a goofy game. I get what you're saying. Like it's hard to understand, like the whole, like lying, manipulating, like how to grok, like how to, you know,
And there's so many
ties
different
together to figure it out and
characters that do
everything, but-
different things.
Yeah, but I think when you start overthinking it, then you really should just move on to something else. Because you're obviously looking for something more than what it is, in my opinion.
Yeah, agree.
I'm overthinking it. Okay,
Yep.
because I wanted to introduce it to my youngest son.
Yeah, for new
Right,
people.
like werewolf. I wanted to introduce to my youngest son. He's 12 now. I never introduced him to werewolf. I actually bought it at Escape WinterCon last year because I wanted to play it with the family and him. Never did it. And then he comes back from church summer camp last week. He's like, Bobby, we played a game called Mafia. It was amazing. I'm like, crap. Like I had my chance to introduce him to
Yep.
this world.
Now he's already passed it.
And it was another group of people that did it.
Yep.
I'm like,
Yeah,
no, that's just werewolf, son. That Mafia, that's just werewolf. Poppy knows werewolf.
It's all the same thing.
Yeah. Cool.
Good.
Yeah, so like if I'm doing social deduction, I prefer deception murder in Hong Kong because I feel like it's a little more involved. Like you got a little bit more to work with. I feel like with the clues on the table.
It's a lot more open. You can really kind of discuss things more, I think, in that too, because there's just the one person there trying to mess everybody up, but other than that, everybody's working together. So yeah.
Yeah, and then Wednesday night I did. There's a brewery near me that does a once a month game night. Like this guy organizes it. Really nice guy. Lots of people go. People playing all sorts of stuff all over the place. It was really cool. And my one neighbor came with. Two of my neighbors came with, and we played Coup, which I've never been a big fan of. Another social deduction.
Yep.
But I had a good time with it there. And then we played Quaxik Wedlenberg, which we had I introduced that to both the guys. They really liked it. And I played Hollywood Golden Age, which was
That's the one
fun.
you were excited to come in.
Yeah, that one's I'm a big fan of that one. So it was a pretty full week of gaming. It was pretty exciting, and I in the Discord I remember telling you guys like I was having this like board gaming existential crisis where I was like looking at my collection. I'm like, I'm not playing any of this stuff. What am I doing? Why do I keep buying games? And it's funny because my solution was I bought another game. So.
Of course. Retail therapy.
Yeah,
Hey.
and I got that high again of like, I got a new game that's going to sit on my shelf. This is fantastic. So
Nice.
Well, it's getting closer and closer to that Castles of Burgundy game coming in. I know you've been watching
I've been
the
watching videos. I've been watching videos.
oh, it looks incredible.
Yeah, and you're smoking. We're in a game on BGA right now. You're smoking me, man. You've been playing a lot of Burgundy, I see.
Oh yeah, that's my top plate game, and I always start off very strong, but I fizzle towards the end. So we'll see if I hold on to it. If I keep things up, I might be able to take it, but I sometimes fizzle.
Good stuff.
Cool.
So, all right. So yeah, that's all I wanted to bring up, guys. I just wanted to bring up the quarterbacking thing, and yeah, great show as always, and thanks for having me on.
Appreciate you
Thanks.
calling as always.
Yeah,
Good
we do.
topics. Yeah. Don't be a
Been a
stranger.
while.
Gotta
Yeah, been a
get
while.
in more often.
He's,
All right,
he's
cool.
busy
Have a
running
good night,
game
guys.
groups up in Illinois, bro.
Getting new dogs and
Dogs. Have a good night, Kyle.
All right.
Appreciate you calling.
See you,
Have a
homie.
good one, Kyle.
Bye-bye.
Phone line is open.
yeah,
I heard a rumor there might be somebody trying to call in shortly.
yeah, some
Really?
Louisiana
Yeah.
folks maybe.
Yeah.
Our
Saying-
Louisiana friends.
Louisiana
They went. They
Connection?
just went offline. They were
Oh, did they?
shocking.
Oh,
They
from-
were getting ready to play Twilight Inscription again.
Oh, were they really?
Again?
They were playing. What were they playing earlier? I watched the beginning of Darwin's Journey. They were playing
Yeah.
Darwin's Journey tonight live online. So I watched that right before I came over to Carlos's. Yep.
Yeah,
So I didn't watch all of it. I watched him play a couple turns. So
Yeah.
that game looks super heavy and looks like one I want to try out at Dice Tower. So I'll have to find a copy of that and somebody knows how to play it because there's quite a bit going on. And I guess
it looks like
when
a lot.
watching them play tonight, the four of them, I don't think any of them had played it before. They had all watched a video and read the rules, but they were stumbling through it a little bit for the first turn or two. So, but it looks good. Looks really good.
Yep. And it looks like we know that Mitchell has officially said that his favorite gamer is BJ from the
Oh,
board
that's
game
what he
Gumbo.
said. Yeah,
Yeah, it's official. We're not going to look at the next comment, but we're
Yeah,
definitely
so
just
yeah,
going
the
to take
comment
this
right
comment.
underneath that. Yeah.
Yeah, no. We'll-
BJ was running the
we can
keyboard. No.
Never leave your phone unlocked around friends, right?
Yeah, there you go.
All right, we talked a little bit about HeroScape, Renegade Games taking that over. Continuing in the news topics until we get interrupted. New Wallace design coming out, Robert.
Wallace.
Yeah, Martin Wallace.
Oh, Martin Wallace. Oh, I
Yeah.
was like, which Wallace?
William Wallace.
Wallace Efron from down the street. William Wallace.
Fighting Fantasy Adventures, solo adventure books. It's going to be 5 solo adventure books
Okay.
with card combat done by Martin Wallace.
Wow. Okay, so it's going to be a book and cards, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. I was thinking when you first said book, I was thinking more of like the graphic novels, Van Ryder kind of thing. But no, sounds like a game with some cards and other stuff going on. Cool.
Well, it says solo adventure book. So
Okay.
I am think maybe not graphic novel like the Van Ryder games. But I grew up with the adventure books, the choose your own adventure books, choose your own path. I can't remember what they're called.
Choose Your Own Adventure.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are great.
Yeah.
But you throw in a card combat system to resolve things in the game,
Sounds cool.
and now you've gamified it.
Yeah.
Like I'm interested.
Yeah. What was it? There was another series.
Michael, you have the link. Michael
Oh, Mike, he's in the chat. He should be on live.
Lorenzo.
Yeah.
It's not like you don't have the link to jump into the show.
He might not be.
Might not
If
be
you're not in a place
visually able, he might be in another part of the house.
it'll be him laying in bed.
Yeah, he mentioned he was doing some stuff tonight, so he wasn't able to be on. So, he says you don't want me joining. He says in the chat. Okay, so yeah, that's what
I'm remembering now.
we suspected. Maybe
I'm remembering
Yeah.
now. We've lit a candle for you.
Anyway, but I was just saying they had the Choose Your Own Adventure game that was kind of a game. Those little boxes that you could buy at was 2 or 3 of them in the series. I own the first one. I don't remember what it was called, but me and the kids played it, and we completely blew the rules and played it completely wrong. But we went through the little series, but that was fun. You got to choose your path. You had a little board with some resources and stuff that you were managing, and you were moving around, scoring a couple of tracks. I don't remember what they were. It was fear on one of the tracks or something, and then a scoring track, and you were trying to keep them above certain numbers, and it was fun. Yeah, I took those Choose Your Own Adventure books and expanded them.
Gamified them even more.
Exactly. It was light and quick, but we enjoyed it. It was fun. Yeah.
Any other titles that you think have done this before that we can
Well, they have
look back to?
There was an choose your own adventure board game a couple of years back. It was
Oh yeah, they're at
the
Target.
House of the Dragon.
Yes.
Or whatever.
I think that's what I was talking about. I think. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm going to look them up here on BGA real
We-
quick. But yeah.
We played one as a group and loved it. That first one.
Yeah.
But how
Yeah.
was that gamified, right? Because there's choose your own adventure, right? Do you feed the orc or
Yeah.
do you kill the orc? Turn to page 3, right?
Yeah.
That was simplified. That's what I remember from my choose your own adventure books. How did they gamify choose your adventure?
I feel like it's been
It's been a while since I
5, 6 years.
played.
It's been a while since I played, but I remember there was that's the one, the House of Danger.
That's one I own. Yeah.
You played it a couple of times potentially because you could like go through and come to a bad ending and then start over.
Right.
But then they gave you things to mitigate a bad ending and kind of rewind and then be able to go back again. And like you got a score based on how much information you were able to gather. Like
Right.
You had to have X amount of cards. Yeah, you have the whole psychic scale and then the danger meter.
Yep.
And they kind of cross. And you could get so you were trying to solve the mystery, and there was like 10 cards that you could gather to solve the mystery. And if you got all 10, then it was like a perfect score. And if you didn't get them, you got you could judge your score on that. It's been 5-6 years since we played it, but it was a lot of fun. I remember it was my wife and another couple, the four of us played through it, and we had a lot of fun with it. There's a second one that we never got to, but it was definitely, you could probably pick this up pretty cheap. And
I mean, I've seen it sold used for like $5, $10. I know Target originally was only like $15.99 or something, and it was fun. Me and the kids liked it. It was light. Like I said, we messed up some of the rules, but as you're drawing the cards and going through, it's a stack of cards there in numerical order, and you're kind of going through them one at a time. And then as you choose branches, you might jump to another part of the deck or something. But
but then you throw in one of the prolific designers, Martin Wallace, on top of that.
Yeah.
Right. And then add card combat resolution in there.
Yeah.
And I'm interested.
Yeah, it sounds like fun.
This is when I heard
and
that
it's
news,
solo. This was definitely not. You could solo this, I think, but you could play it up to 4. So it definitely wasn't a solo experience only.
Yeah, I think from my understanding, when the Kickstarter goes up, it's going to end up being 5 solo adventure books, and then that card combat piece, and then you throw in Martin Wallace, and I'm like, interested. Very interesting. In further news, Undaunted Battle of Britain releases this week.
Oh, okay.
So that was a quick release. I didn't expect that.
Battle of Britain, which
that's the airplanes.
That's the airplane one.
That's
okay.
the airplanes.
Yeah. Spitfires versus Messerschmitts.
Yeah. My copy's in the room waiting for Father's Day.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So the pre-release was ordered and received, and I can't touch it till Father's Day.
Okay.
So, but
that's never stopped you before. You've said that before, and then I come over a week later. It's like, I've already played it 3 times. Oh, okay.
I watched some reviews and some content on it. I think the rules guy, what's his name? Not Rodney.
Paul Grogan.
Paul Grogan did a full video on it, so I got to watch that.
He's good.
And my impressions and my understanding is that this is probably a lighter rule set than Undaunted has been.
I think so, from what I've seen, yeah.
That this is a simpler, maybe not lighter, maybe lighter is not the right word, simpler rule set, but the planes have facing. There's a small tweaks to the changes. Everything's moving because they're airplanes, so you can't just stop moving them. You change some rules where in Undaunted, every time you rolled a 10, it was always a hit. 10 in this game, no. Yeah. So 10s aren't always a hit. And as well as you can't hunker down, so you can't take cards out of your deck as much because they're airplanes. They're moving.
Yeah.
So they have to keep moving.
They can't just hunker down.
They can't just stop.
Can't just
I'm going to pause right here.
Yeah. You got formations. I know formations is big in this one.
Yeah. So this is the
communication.
3rd or 4th game in the series, right?
5th box.
5th? Oh, wow. Okay.
5th box.
First box was Undaunted.
One of them was just
2nd box
more
was
stuff.
Undaunted North Africa. 3rd box was Undaunted Reinforcements.
Reinforcements, I think, was 3rd, yeah.
4th box
Stalingrad.
was Stalingrad, and this will be box number 5, Battle Britain.
Now, have you played them all?
No, I played Undaunted Regular, Undaunted Africa. I don't own Africa, but I have Undaunted Reinforcements because it supplements Undaunted Normandy really well. Undaunted Reinforcements adds the solo game system as well as the 4-player rule set. Son of a Mitch. Look who it is.
Oh, on the line with us, Mitchell Prudhomme.
I only have 2 seconds. We're in the middle of a game of Twilight Inscription on Board Game Gummo streaming. Wayne popped in and reminded us how show was going on, and we just wanted to say hey at BJ Jarrett and Jeremy over here as well.
Appreciate the shout out.
I thought Mitchell's comments on the stream were awesome.
Yes, we did as well. We highlighted
you
that,
more than
that
one
you were his
time?
favorite gamer. Yeah.
We agree wholeheartedly.
Yes.
Oh gosh. All right. Well, I don't want to slow down this game. I just finished the teach and we're about to get started, but we just want to say hey. Catch you guys later.
Appreciate the support. Thanks for calling in.
Keeps the calling show.
Bye.
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 That was quick.
Yeah. They're like on their 10th. He's on his like 15th play of that game in like the past 2 weeks.
That's
Oh,
crazy.
yeah.
Like, I don't get it.
They're loving it. Carlos doesn't get that.
I love
that.
TI4. I love TI4.
Play one game over and over.
I like that, but
You like Clash of Cultures doing that,
right,
yeah.
right, in the correct games.
Oh yeah, okay. Got to pick the games.
Every
play a
time I
roll and
looked
write?
at any content for Twilight Inscription, none of it made me desire playing that game.
I want to try it. I want to try it.
Yeah.
Like if I'm
I
gonna do
wanna
that, I might
try
as well
it.
play Twilight.
But you haven't played Hidden
No,
Result.
but,
Oh no,
but
no,
you can
come
do it
on.
in 2 hours, whereas
Yeah, instead of
Twilight's
8
6
hours.
and 8. Yeah.
Yeah.
But so no, I've seen a lot of reviews lately on Undaunted Stalingrad and people loving the campaign aspect of it.
I really want to. I saw that at. I don't want to cut you off too
Yeah,
much, but
yeah, go for
I
it.
saw that at
No, do it. Go ahead.
Armada this weekend at the game day.
They have it there.
And yeah,
Oh.
it weighs a ton. It's a box. It's bigger than this one. It's a little longer, a little thicker, but it is
A little longer, a little
longer,
thicker.
a little thicker, a little longer, a little thicker. But it's it looks good. And as soon as I see campaign on anything, my ears perk up. Campaign.
But it's 2-player, right? It's 2-player
Campaign.
campaign.
2-player.
I would have
only.
to assume, yeah.
Yeah. So I want to like, where would I get in? I want to try Undaunted, and but I have a 9-year-old. I can't play the campaign with him. I'm like,
Well,
"Damn
come
it."
over here. We'll play
I
sometime.
disagree.
Carlos wants to play a 4-player.
I disagree.
You want to play 4-player?
Undaunted
So we'll go.
Normandy. I do
Yeah.
want to play 4-player.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Undaunted Normandy is a simple enough rule set. I think your boy can take it.
Yeah, I think Normandy. Yeah, but the campaign. I don't know if he.
Oh,
Oh,
I wouldn't
that-
jump
no,
into the
yeah,
campaign.
yeah,
I wouldn't
yeah.
jump into
But-
the campaign.
No, but I did.
I'd try it
So
first.
Definitely start with Undaunted Normandy then, right? Is that what you're saying?
Probably. That was the first one.
See,
I think
so
that's probably
and they have different scales,
most
and that's what's
approachable.
really cool. So Normandy's scale is a platoon level scale, where you're running a platoon with multiple squads. Each squad has multiple individuals in the squad, and all you're trying to do is activate the squad. Activating the squad moves the squad token. The squad fires. In North Africa, they zoomed in. They went more macro into or micro into this thing.
Macros out.
They zoomed in, and each token is a person.
Mhm.
Each person has a number of cards available to activate them. So when you lose that person, they're gone. They're dead. And then every
Vehicles, yeah,
in North Africa
vehicles.
has different spaces where you put people into them: driver, gunner, mechanic. And which so much reminds me of like the Battlefield games on the video games, the old Battlefield where you'd have multiple seats, like in a tank, the gunner and the driver, and then if you had the extra seats for the mechanic, so you can like be out there fixing it. Anyway, that's what it feels like in North Africa. It's more zoomed in. It's more micro. You're running individuals. I have not played Stalingrad. I think it takes it back to the Undaunted Normandy side, where it's more squad based, larger, like a little more zoomed out scale.
I like that.
And then Battle Britain takes it out even farther, and it's
Yeah.
just airplanes, and you're dealing with command and control. You're dealing with the communications piece of it, and you're defending Britain from the attacks from the German Luftwaffe.
Luftwaffe.
Sounds like a waffle brand, Luftwaffe.
I like waffles.
And in the morning,
I'm hungry.
we having waffles.
Waffles. You can have waffles all
And then
times of the day.
Undaunted
Chicken
Reinforcements enhances both Undaunted Normandy and Undaunted North Africa,
Waffles and shrimp.
which includes extra cards. Okay, Bubba.
Waffles with ice cream on it.
Waffles and chicken.
Well, yes, I said chicken waffles. That was the first one, but go ahead.
It enhances North Africa and Normandy by giving you new units that you can just easily insert into those base games. But then it adds a 4-player rule set and scenarios. And then it takes every scenario and creates a solo version. So it has this AI system now that you can play all the Normandy and North Africa with the solo. That's the reason I bought that set. That's Undaunted, and that's the news on that one.
Good game.
And I guess we'll have to save the other news for the next show.
Yeah.
I got like 3 pages of news.
Hit that magical 11 o'clock Eastern.
I like it.
Did I miss anything? Was it really, really big? Anything time sensitive? I'm looking. No, we talked about Heat. Oh, Archeo Society. That released. That's the
Blank stare from me. I don't know what that is.
we got to play this weekend and introduce Wayne to Ethnos,
Oh, that's one
one of our favorite games to play at game days.
The reskin.
Archeo Society, the reskin just released. It's the remake of Ethnos, and I don't know if I'm buying it. I looked at it, and it does not draw my attention.
Ethnos currently 17 on both of our top 20 games played this year board.
They lined up.
Yeah, 17 and 17.
Well, we got to
Both of
take a
us.
shot.
That's crazy.
Every time a game lines up, we got to take a
Might
shot.
be the first time it's ever happened. Anyway, Ethnos, great game.
And then finally, I guess the last time news, like time sensitive news, is Magic the Gathering. Their One Ring card. They created a Lord of the Rings artwork One Ring card.
Was it $1 million?
The bounty for that, because it's one of one. These are serialized cards, one of one. The bounty is now up to $1 million.
$1 million.
$1 million. So if you are seeking to win the lotto, the way you can do that is by looking for the English editions.
Just go buy thousands of
of
packs.
the normal edition of the collector booster packs. So this is the warning. There is a special edition collector booster packs, which are the really expensive ones.
Stay away from those.
It is not going to be in there.
Oh, all right.
So even though it costs more money and it's special edition,
Why would they not milk that cow?
because they have more boxes of the basic than they do the special.
Dilute it more. Yeah.
Right, it's diluted more. So look for the English edition or English version of the special edition. I'm sorry, the normal edition of the collection
The not
booster
so
packs.
special edition. Yeah.
If you want to win the lotto.
I just imagine somebody buying a box, because you know how people buy boxes to not open so that they're more valuable later on. Somebody
yeah.
buys the box that happens to have
Put it in
the
their
one
garage.
card in it and puts it in their garage for 15 years.
They die,
Yeah,
and the family
can you
donates
imagine-
it to the
Yeah,
Goodwill.
can you imagine if you open that like 5 years later and maybe the contest is over at that point? I don't know if there's a.
It's not a contest.
No, it's just a
Exactly.
contest.
It's just a one-of-one.
They're
Wow.
creating one card for the One Ring, and it's going to be in a random pack. And there's
Yeah.
like a couple of like online retailers, and people have already put out or famous people will be like, "I'll pay $1 million whoever has it." Like it went from 500 to 750 to $1 million, like that.
Wow.
And I mean, what's the odds that maybe that's the one that got chucked? Like mom got mad because the kid didn't do his homework,
Threw out his
so she threw out that booster pack.
collection or threw out his
Like that is a lot to put on one card.
Yeah.
It's too much pressure.
Or some kid gets it, doesn't realize what it is, and I don't know. That's
There you go, folks. That's the timely news that needs to be put out. Everything else we can bring up later.
Yep.
We are the Beans and Dice podcast. Every Thursday night we do this lovely thing called the live call-in show, where we take your calls and talk about gaming, talk about things that you've been up to. We enjoy just new topics. We share about just our love of gaming with you, where you call in. Folks like Carl, who calls in to talk about his love of checkers. But we take them all. They all come. So tell your friends about what we do. Make sure to like. Make sure to hit subscribe on the YouTubes.
thumb it up or something. Does that do
follow
anything
on the
anymore?
Twitch.
Hearts, thumbs,
Like,
whatever.
subscribe, follow on
Yeah.
Facebook,
Comment.
join our Discord.
Comments help.
Yeah, we'll talk to you.
Yeah. And tomorrow night, RPG call-in show. We're going to do this again, but we're going to talk about RPGs. Myself, my man Wayne as my wingman there, because Rob ditches me for those.
Yeah.
And then we've got our guest, Rod Frazier from the Ron Talks Table Talk podcast, and William from the Nerdy Wedge will be
Wedge.
joining us for our Friday night, once a month RPG conversation. And then the next Friday, I get joined by my buddies in the Blood Bowl world. We're going to talk about the Blood Bowl. This was going to be more specific about Chaos Cup, because Florida has taken the Chaos Cup from Illinois. Sorry, my man Kyle. Chaos Cup was held in Chicago forever. It was one of the biggest national Blood Bowl tournaments ever in history, and Florida has taken it, brought it down to Orlando. So we're going to be in Kissimmee in November, and we're going to talk Chaos Cup as we prepare for that. I will be at Chaos Cup streaming live matches and almost like an ESPN style commentary from those matches live.
Can't wait.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
Hey, I'll check it out. It sounds cool.
It's going to be like Dodgeball, the movie. The guys
On the
commentating
Ocho, you can be on the Ocho.
on the Ocho.
That's shocking news, Carl.
Girl. It's an interesting strategy. We'll see if it pays out. That's it. I'm done. What do you got?
That's it.
That's it.
All right, that's it.
See y'all.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks for watching the Beans and Dice podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Smash that button. Catch y'all next week or tomorrow night.